All right. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Brandon with biggerpockets.com, and we are going to be getting started here in about 2 minutes, maybe a minute and a half. I don't know, minute 18, 17, 16, just kidding. I don't know. Somewhere around there. We're going to give people a time to, get in here. So what's up, everyone? Let me know if you can hear me okay. And you can't see me yet. Let me turn my camera on, though. Make sure you can see me. Me and my awesome sweater. Check this out. Sweater right there. That's right. How's everyone doing? Evan, 3 weeks in a row from Dallas. What's up, Evan? Evan, first comment of the day. Jonathan Gregory from Tyler, Texas. What's up? Lane from Mill Creek, Washington. Hey, Mill Creek, Washington, not too far from where I'm at. Taylor from Boston. Paul got here early to get a good seat. Rock on, Paul. Linda and Tony, Jonathan, Brian, Mark, Robert, Don, Kevin. You guys are awesome. How you guys doing? Wow, there's a lot of people coming. Okay, yeah, we got people going. Good. Okay, so how's everyone doing today? Good? Good. I'm super excited to talk today about one of my favorite topics in the entire world, and that is small multifamily properties. I'm talking about duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes. Fourplexes. And the reason I love them so much is because this is an integral part of my story of how I achieved financial freedom. I'll talk a little bit about that today. I'm not going to go into like a lot of depth into my story, but you'll hear kind of how I bought my first couple properties. And one of my very first properties was a duplex, and I absolutely love them. In fact, just yesterday, I was over at one of my more recent purchases, my most recent properties. It was a fourplex, and it is my favorite property that I own right now. I also have a 5-unit property that I love. I got a duplex. I mean, all my small multifamily properties are what gives me the most cash flow, which is one of the reasons I like them so much. I think it's a lot of fun. So let's just jump into this. I'm going to give a couple more quick shout outs, like Pavel from Minneapolis. Brandon Jackson Moore said, "Where's the red flannel?" I know, no flannel today, just the cool, hipster sweater. I don't know. I got this sweater a while back and I haven't worn this on a webinar, so whatever. Let's see. Brian from Orlando, Aisha from Maryland. Brody, nice beard from Spokane. Thank you. Check out this thing. I've not shaved this since November. I've trimmed a little bit so it doesn't look like a wild man, but I haven't done a lot more than that. All right, guys, let's get this thing started. I'm excited again, like I said, about this webinar. I hope you are too, because again, duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes are one of those things that truly can help you get financial freedom. And I know financial freedom is kind of like this buzzword, right? That's like, I don't know, the late night charlatans are like, you could achieve financial freedom. Just send me a monthly payment of $999. And but financial freedom really is a thing. I mean, let's break that down. What does financial freedom actually mean? I mean, what are we talking about? We're talking about not having to work. Now, I'm not talking about being lazy. I mean, I have financial freedom. I still work. But I'm talking about like having the ability to not work if you don't want to, having the ability that if you lost your job, you could survive, having the ability to go travel if you want to, or spend more time with your family. I mean, my big why, I've got a little girl, and I always knew I was going to have kids because I love kids. And my big why was someday when I become a parent, I wanted to make sure that I had the financial freedom to be able to enjoy my life as a dad, to be able to take my kids to a ball game or to go to their ballet recitals, whatever. That's what financial freedom is to me. It's not about just making money. It's about the life that it can give you. And that is, again, why I love small multifamily properties so much, because of what they can do for you. There's some unique things about small multifamilies that only small families really have. And we'll talk about that tonight. So again, welcome you guys. Super glad you're all here. Welcome and thanks for showing up. You are in the right place let's talk about that. Make sure, because some of you guys, there's a lot of people signed up for this webinar. Some of you guys might be like, it's not really the right place for me. Let's find out. First of all, if you're looking to buy your first duplex, triplex, or fourplex, but you don't know where to start, you're going to love this webinar. I'm going to keep the cookies on the lower shelf for you. You're going to learn a lot of stuff. And yeah, I might use some words that you don't understand. Go ahead and just jot those down. We can talk about them later. We'll do Q&A at the end. And pretty much everything I'm going to talk about today has been written exhaustively on Bigger Pockets. So, we'll make sure you don't get too confused. Also, if you've maybe done some single family deals in the past, but you're looking to branch into small multifamily, I think this will be very helpful for you. Maybe if you just work too much at a job, or maybe you just work too much at real estate and you need to find ways to streamline your business, I believe today will help you. I'm going to talk about some ways that you can make more income while working less. And I know that sounds like a shady promise, but I'm serious. There's ways to systematize your business and to streamline certain activities that can help you be able to acquire more properties, analyze more properties, look at more deals, make more offers without having to go, spend 100 hours a week doing it. Because if you have limited time to dedicate to real estate investing and you need to maximize every moment, this is your webinar. I took a personality test back in high school. Not even high school. I guess it was like when I got out of high school. Anyway, and this personality test defined my personality as the maximizer. That's what I was called, a maximizer. And what that means is I try to find every possible shortcut I can to anything that I do. So like in my own life, I do, and when I took that test, I was like, oh, that is perfectly me. Good example. So when I was like 5 years old, I did something bad. I don't know. Whatever, I swore at my parents or something like that, something bad I was doing, right? And I got in trouble, and I had to, instead of like punishing me, like, you know, the biggest punishment my parents could do to me was made me write sentences like, I will not shove my brother down the stairs, whatever. And I had to write like 200 sentences. And my parents sent me to my room to go do that. So I go to my room and I come out like 5 minutes later and I've got 200 sentences written. And my parents' jaw just drops. Like, how did you write so fast? Then they go in the room and I've got 10 pencils. I'm like 5 years old. I got 10 pencils taped together in a big line. And I drew the whole thing like this, 10 at a time. And anyway, that's like an analogy of my entire life. So that's why I'm big on finding ways to streamline your business, find ways to maximize it, because I don't want to spend 40, 50, 60 hours a week working on this stuff. I want financial freedom. And that's what I teach. So if that's what you're interested in, you guys are going to love today's webinar. Now, I've got a worksheet for you. I want to encourage you guys, download today's worksheet. Download it. You can get it today at biggerpockets.com/111 or 111 worksheet. Again, biggerpockets.com/111 worksheet. Now, why do you need a worksheet? You're like, I don't need a worksheet. I got my mind, right? Here's why you need a worksheet, because study after study after study shows that you will remember far more of what you hear when you take notes on it. So rather than just busting out a blank piece of paper, why not do notes that I created for you? All you gotta do is fill in the blank. This is gonna help you retain the most important things today. And if you can't tell, I drink a lot of caffeine. I talk very quickly, and I probably will cover a whole lot of stuff today that doesn't even matter to you. This is what matters. Take notes. It'll help you quite a bit. Cool? Capiche? Cool. All right, moving on. So again, last time I'll say this, biggerpockets.com/111 worksheet. Actually, I think I might say it once more, but whatever. So what are we talking about today? We're talking about using duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes to find financial freedom. Again, I talked about this a minute ago. I'll say it again. Financial freedom. What is that? It doesn't mean loaded rich. I mean, yeah, you can get rich off small multifamilies, but that's not why I do this. Why do you do it? Why are you interested in real estate? Actually, let's just for fun for a minute, in the chat area, let me know, why do you invest in real estate, or why do you want to? What does financial freedom look like to you? My guess is you want financial freedom, right? We all kind of do, but what does that look like to you? Why go through the pain and struggle of dealing with tenants and properties and all that junk that goes with real estate, right? That's what people say. Why go through all that if it's just for, you know, a couple dollars? So what does that mean? Corey said to never have to rely on a job again. Logan said passive income. Dario said time. Asheville said travel the world. Aaron said more golf. I actually love that. That's one of my goals as well. I want to do more golf. Travel the world. I love that. Generational income. Love that. To help others. I love that. Freedom from my time. Retirement. 2 grandkids. Spend more time with them. I love that. Cash flow. To be my own boss. To do stuff I want to enjoy. Again, that's why we do this stuff. Keep that in mind, guys. You know, sometimes real estate gets tough. I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm not like the guy telling you, this is easy, everybody can do this. You know, like, this is hard work. I mean, becoming good at real estate is hard work. And most people quit. Most people fall off the boat or the bus or whatever you want to call it. Right? Why? Because it's tough. So hold tight to that why. Hold tight to why you're doing this, and you guys are going to do much better. You have a much better chance of success if you hang on to that. So, all right. So what are we gonna talk about today? Let me go through a very quick outline. So I got some special gifts to hand out here. I'll talk a little bit about, these are like door prizes. I'll give those out in a second, so hang tight for that. I got a little bit about me and Bigger Pockets in case you don't know who I am. I'll talk about why duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes are so awesome and why they matter. I'll talk about how they can help you get financial freedom. We'll talk about where to find great deals on it. We'll talk about how to finance them. Like, how do you even finance a duplex or triplex or fourplex? Then we'll actually talk about analyzing. How do you make sure you get a good deal? I mean, there's a lot of duplexes I've seen out there and triplexes and fourplexes that are terrible deals. How do you make sure you get the right one? A good one that's going to help you get closer to your goal of financial freedom? We'll talk about that. I'll talk about some of what to watch out for, some of the dangers that people do when they're doing those triplexes and duplexes and stuff. Then we'll talk about some pro tools that you can use on your 2, 3, 4 journey. In other words, some stuff that's going to help you streamline your business. And we will end this thing with some Q&A, some question and answer time. Does that sound good? That sounds a good outline. Probably go for the next hour, maybe a little bit more than an hour. I always want to end these things by like an hour, but I tend to go a little long. So basically, by the end of today's webinar, here's my goal. You guys are going to know the detailed process for finding, analyzing, and buying duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes to help you achieve your financial goals. Cool? All right, last time I'm putting this up here. Worksheet, biggerpockets.com/111 worksheet. Cool? All right. By the way, guys, I just want to give a quick shout out over in the chat area. Tony said, going to close on my first duplex this Friday. Tony, you rock. Congratulations. Welcome to the world of duplex ownership. That's very, very cool. So congratulations, dude. That's awesome. I'm assuming you're a dude, not a dudette, because Tony could be a dudette name, but we'll call it dude. All right. So bonuses, like I said, just for showing up today, I want to make sure you guys walk out of here with some massive value. Even if everything I say after this sucks, I want to make sure you guys get some good value. So I'm going to give out a special door prize. And that is, this is a guide that I wrote called The Top 20 Real Estate Books Every Investor Should Read. And basically, look, there's a lot of crappy real estate books out there. I don't want you to read all the crappy ones. I want you to read the good ones. So I was like, hey, why don't I just make a guide that lays out all my favorite books? So there's ones on flipping, ones on rentals. There's one in there on small multifamily. And there's a couple in there, that I wrote, but whatever. We won't talk about me being selfish. And again, I wrote why I like them, who they're good for, where you can get them at, even like links to Amazon. This is just a free gift just because I like you guys. I think you're awesome. And the fact that you showed up here on time means a lot to me. You guys are go-getters. So good job. All right. So you can download that at biggerpockets.com/books. BOOKS. But you don't have to do it now. You can do it later. Don't distract yourself right now because we are in focus mode here, right? Do you guys believe? Let me ask you guys a question. Let me look at your face. Well, I can't actually see your face. You can see mine. Do you believe that duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes, go ahead and answer in the chat area. Do you believe that they can help you get financial freedom? Do you believe they can get you closer to your goals, to the traveling the world more, spending more time with your kids or grandkids? Will that happen? I believe so. Second question, do you believe that I can help you get there a little bit better? Even if I could get you 1% closer, do you believe that? I would hope so. Otherwise, why would you be here, right? So put those two things together. If you honestly believe that it can help you and that I can help you, I want to encourage you guys to focus in for the next hour. Again, we're going to cover a lot of stuff and you might get a little confused, but try to stay away from the Facebook, the Twitter, all that stuff that gets distracting because if you believe this is life-changing, then commit to this for the next hour. Focus in, take the notes, write down stuff, questions you have, dive in and really commit to learning this next hour. Cool? All right. I like to give that little pep talk. Is that weird? Just because I've been on so many webinars where I zone out after a couple minutes because the guy is boring. I try not to be boring, but I probably am boring. But I try not to be because I know how easy it is to zone out and go, start playing your video games and Snapchatting and taking pictures of yourself and all that junk, right? Duck faces. Why does everyone do a duck face? I don't know. Anyway, moving on. All right. So special gifts number 2 and 3. I'm going to give you the entire slide deck to today's webinar, all 125 slides. All 125 slides I'll give you today. And I'm going to give you a book that I wrote called 7 Years to 7-Figure Wealth, a roadmap to earning your first million by investing in small multifamily properties. Now, if you have not read this book, you guys are going to love this thing. Basically, what I did is I took a step-by-step, like year 1, year 2, year 3, showing how it's possible to make $1 million in net worth in 7 years. Or, if you want to do it a little slower, it's okay. But mathematical year by year, how you could do it. And this thing is basically takes all these high up concepts that you hear about and it puts it into a very tangible real world examples. And people, tens of thousands of people have read this book. So I'm gonna give you guys all the book a little bit later. So hang tight later in this webinar. I also got another cool gift to give you later. I won't tell you about now. So a little bit about BP. We are the real estate investing social network, marketplace, and information hub. So in other words, we're just the site that we teach you guys how to invest in real estate, right? We're like, hey, here's how you buy rentals. Here's how you do flipping. Here's some podcasts. Here's some webinars. Here's some books. Here's some forums. Here's 1 million forum posts. Here's tens of thousands of blog posts. And it's like all the content, except for you might pay for a book. The content is free on Bigger Pockets. We want to see you succeed. We're not going to charge you $20,000, $30,000 for this content. If you want to go watch some YouTube videos on Bigger Pockets, go watch some videos on Bigger Pockets. We put most of our content out for free. You might pay for a book. We also have a pro membership. A pro membership gives you access to some cool tools. But just content you can get on Bigger Pockets for free. Now, who am I? My name is Brandon Turner, that guy right there with the much smaller beard than I have today. I'm a real estate investor and a landlord. First and foremost, I've been doing this now for a decade, since I was 21 years old. I got into real estate. And you guys, I'm not going to lie, I struggled when I started. I bought a flip first. My first house was like a single family house. I rented out the bedrooms. And then I decided that, this was cool. I want to be in real estate. So I bought a duplex and I lived in half of it, rented the other half out. And I remember that feeling of living in the back house, one of the houses, it was 2 houses on one lot. I remember living in one house. And then the tenants in the front house came and paid me rent, and it was like $650. And my mortgage at the time was 620 something or 630 something. And so all of a sudden I realized, man, I'm living for free. This is financial freedom. Now, of course, I had other bills and stuff, so it wasn't true financial freedom, but it was getting on that path, right? Now I still own that property today, and it still gives me a couple $100s a month in cash flow, even after I don't live there anymore. And that was kind of the start of my journey. However, like I said, I struggled a lot. I tried flipping houses for a while, and I still do a little of that, but I was never that great at it. And I bought some stuff I shouldn't have bought. I made some big mistakes on rental properties that I should not have ever bought. And, it sucks sometimes, but over the last 10 years, I learned from a lot of those mistakes. I learned how to get better. And in fact, the last 3 years, I've done much better. And primarily it's because I've been focusing on small multifamily properties. I bought a duplex that gives me like $800 a month in cash flow. I got a fiveplex that gives me almost $1,200 a month in cash flow. I just bought another fourplex that gives me, or will give me, once it's all rented out, about $1,000 a month in cash flow, and pay for my daughter's college education someday. It's actually her property. I mean, we bought it for her when she was born, the week she was born. So I guess I bet on this journey. I'm not like some guru that's been, teaching this for 20 years, but never actually done it. Like, I'm doing it every day. In fact, just 3 hours ago, I went and looked at a property, and I made a video on my Instagram. If you want to go watch it, I did a walk through the property. This is what I do every day. I made an offer not even an hour ago, because this is what I do. And I absolutely love this game. So I want to encourage you guys. This is a fun business to be in. You guys will love it. All right. Also, and you may know me from the Bigger Pockets podcast, I'm the co-host there. And random fact about myself, you would not know this necessarily, but I am super tall. And I don't want to say awkward tall. I'm not 8'9", but I am 6'5". And so whenever I meet people in real life, they always say, wow, you're taller than you sound on the podcast. And I'm like, thank you. But Josh, the other, the host of the Bigger Pockets podcast, is much shorter than he sounds on the podcast. Don't tell him I said that. So anyway, my story in a nutshell, I decided to quit my dead-end job at 21 years old and become a full-time investor. Tried to flip houses, didn't sell, had to get a full-time job again. I discovered small multifamily properties. Again, I didn't even know what I was doing when I bought that original duplex. I just bought it because I thought it would be kind of cool. Oh, there's a picture of it. That's the house I lived in. I lived in the back of it, the back house. There's a little house in the back, and then there's that front one. And it's pretty awesome. I guess a random story. Do you guys know the background or the backstory of that property? That property right there, I'll show you the picture again. That was actually Kurt Cobain, Nirvana. That was his very first house he ever lived in. In fact, it's on his birth certificate, that house. So if you want to know what the address is, just look up Kurt Cobain's birth certificate. And that's actually, he lived in both halves of the duplex, both houses on that lot he lived in. I didn't know that when I bought it. That was purely accident. And it does nothing for me but give me bragging rights on webinars, but still kind of cool. Anyway, it does not look like that anymore. I need to update the pictures. I actually painted it. That was actually a really nasty, ugly paint job. Long story there. I won't tell you it, but I've since painted it. Anyway, today I own a little over $3 million in real estate, about a dozen properties with 50 plus units, all in the past 9 years. And most of them are duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes. Even my 24-unit apartment complex is not actually 24 units. It's actually 6 fourplexes in a group, because I love fourplexes. And I was able to quote unquote retire at 27. Now I don't believe in ever retiring, but I achieved financial freedom when I was 27 to live on the cash flow. And now today I work probably 5 hours a week on my rental properties. At least maybe I should work a little bit more than that when I'm in the middle of a rehab, because managing contractors is a lot of work. And I'm not super rich, but I am living life on my own terms. And I'm also the author of a few books on Bigger Pockets, including the book on investing in real estate with no one low money down. And those are just a few of properties that I've got. So, all right, that right there is my wife and I in the front of our 24-unit apartment complex. I just want you to introduce you guys to her, because you may see her around. She may even stop by later and bring out Rosie, my little girl, and show you. But that's Heather. She's like the person that keeps me grounded in our real estate. She manages all of our stuff. She takes care of the paperwork. She is amazing. Very, very smart lady. And then Charlie and Ruby, my 2 dogs, and there's little Rosie Lou. She is awesome. So, yeah, by the way, she was born last May, and she is the best thing that ever happened to me. I absolutely love that girl. But moving on, because today's webinar is really not about me. Today's webinar is about you and how you guys can use duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes to accomplish your goals and your dreams. So let's get into that. Why duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes? Like, what's the big deal with them? Well, let's talk about that. So first of all, small multifamily properties tend to cash flow better, at least in my area and in a lot of areas. They tend to cash flow pretty well. Sometimes better than single families, and at least at scale, they can. I really like the cash flow. Like I said, one of my properties, I bought a duplex, a very simple duplex. I rehabbed it and made it really nice. And I have a total of like $80,000 into it. But every single month, I make about $800 in cash flow. Now, every once in a while, I have a vacancy and stuff, and that drops down. So on average, I'm probably averaging 600. If you incorporate in the repairs and maintenance and stuff and vacancy, but that's just cash flow. It comes in every month, and over time that goes up because rents are going up over time with inflation, right? Rents are going up, but my mortgage is a fixed rate mortgage, which means my mortgage payment is not climbing up at all. My mortgage is there. So like that money just comes in. My fourplex that I recently bought, we bought it, we rehabbed it. We're in the middle of rehabbing right now. We're almost done with the third unit. The fourth unit will be done. Both units will be done by the end of this month. Once it's rented, it'll be about $1,000 a month, and it's going to be on a 15-year mortgage. In 15 years, it'll be paid off completely. It'll be worth about $250,000, maybe $1/3 And at that point, we won't owe anything on it. The tenants will have paid the mortgage down, and that is my daughter's property. She gets to use that for whatever. So again, there's some serious benefits why I love small multifamily properties, but one of the big ones is cash flow. Love it. Another one, residential financing. Guys, this is huge. Write this down on your paper, residential financing. Now, what do I mean by that? Here's the deal. When you go out and buy an apartment complex, I take a drink of water. Man, I talk pretty fast, I know. So residential financing, when you go out and buy like an apartment complex, you got to go to the commercial loan department. Commercial loans are usually like 30% down, and they got all these kind of strange different rules and stuff. But when you're buying a duplex, triplex, or a fourplex, you get residential financing, which means your mortgage process is no different than somebody buying a single family house. So why is that beneficial? Well, it means lower down payments. It means fixed rate mortgages. And again, I cannot stress the importance of that enough, how cool that is. Meaning you can buy a fourplex or a triplex or a duplex and get a 30-year fixed mortgage or a 15-year fixed mortgage, meaning that payment will not go up. We are still at record low interest rates. They're going to go up. They will be at 8, 10, 12% someday in our lifetime, if not in the next few years. Right now, most of my mortgages are at 4% or under. I love it because I got residential financing. Also, less competition. I mean, most people out there aren't like, I want to go buy a duplex. Most people want to buy the cute house with the cute kitchen that has the cute front yard for their cute little dog and their cute wife and their cute kids, right? Like that's what they're looking for. They're not looking for the triplex that's kind of run down, a little bit ugly. It's got, bad windows and it smells like a dog died in there. Like they don't look for that one. That's what I look for. So when I go to look at those houses, there's very few people. Earlier today, I told you I put in an offer. I put an offer on a flip in my town. Now, I'm not going to get it, I'm sure, because I offered way lower than they were asking. And there was like 5 other offers that already came in that were above asking, I heard. At least some of them were above asking. There'll probably be another like half a dozen offers on that property today. Everybody wants that property. Why? Because it's a single family home. It's going to be cute. It's in a good neighborhood. It's got, it's cute. And the thing, like, I'm not going to I don't like that competition. I don't like dealing with a dozen offers on a property. I want the ones that nobody is looking at, and small multifamily properties have less competition. House hacking is another huge benefit. Now, if you guys are brand new to real estate, house hacking is an option that you have. It's an option for anybody, but primarily for people who are brand new. Now, what house hacking is the idea where you live in one of the units and you rent out the others. Remember earlier I talked to you about that I lived in the single family house or the duplex. I lived in one unit, rented the other one out, and I was living for free. That, my friend, is house hacking. You can do that with a duplex, triplex, or fourplex. Now, the great benefit of that, there's a couple. One, you can get what's called an FHA, like Frank, Harry, Adam, FHA loan, and it's a 3.5% down payment, which means that if you were buying a $200,000 property, you'd only need to come up with like $7,000 for a down payment, not 20%, which would be $40,000, right? So way smaller down payment. Also 30-year fixed mortgage, and there's some other benefits of the FHA as well. And when you move out of the property, you don't have to refinance it. You can just keep that mortgage. And so I'm a huge proponent of house hacking. In fact, someday I'd love to write a book, the book on house hacking. That'll be a Bigger Pockets book, probably, 2018, something like that. Because I love that concept. I think it's very, very powerful. And I know a lot of people who have had massive success getting started that way. It's also, you get like training wheels to be a landlord. It's awesome. Tony said, I'm house hacking on the duplex I'm about to close on Friday. There's that Tony again. Tony, you're awesome. He's house hacking that duplex. Congratulations, Tony. Now, Tony's going to get a firsthand, like he's going to get an on-site view of being a landlord. He's going to learn how to deal with tenants, learn how to deal with rent, but he's going to be living there. So like, what can go wrong? Like, he can still make the payment if he had to. It's like training wheels, but for being a landlord. And he's going to learn a ton in the process. He's going to make some mistakes. He's going to do some things good, but Tony is going to crush it. And then when he moves out someday, that property is hopefully going to cash flow like an ATM machine, and it's going to just contribute to helping him get financial freedom. And that's why I love house hacking and why I love small multifamilies. Now, house hacking is not the only way. If you don't want to go live in a small multifamily, that's fine. Don't worry about it. It's just one benefit of it. So, how can duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes, apparently I can't spell triplexes, how can duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes give me financial freedom? Let's talk about that. So we mentioned it earlier, but let me do a quick study. Actually, will you guys actually let me know in the chat area? I know I turned it on private right now, private chat, but I'll turn it back on public. Let me know. And if this is private, if you don't want to tell me, that's okay. But just for fun, how much money do you need each month to be financially free? To not worry about the bills, to not worry about being able to pay, if you lost your job, what would make you feel comfortable? I'm not talking about rich. I'm talking about what would make you feel financially free. How much money per month would make you do that? Joe said 4K, Derry said 5K, Michelle 6K, Harley 4K, 5K, 10K, 8K, 5K, 6K. All right, so we're seeing a lot of 5s and 6s. Okay, I like that. So why don't we just use maybe we'll use 5 for now. Let's say we need $5,000. Go ahead and divide that number, guys. Divide that number by 100. What is that? How much do you need per month to feel financially free? Divide that by 100. I'll explain why in a second. So if you needed 5,000, we'll use that example. Or if you're like Alan and you need 5 billion, divide that by a lot. You're gonna need a lot of small multifamilies. But let's just say 5,000. Divided by 100, you're at 50 units, right? Okay. So I need 50 units for my financial freedom. Now, how did I come up with that number? Well, when I look for a multifamily property, I typically look for a minimum of $100 per month per unit. Now, sometimes I look for more than that. Sometimes I look for up to $200 if I can get it. In fact, like I said, my 5plex is $1,200 a month in cash flow. My 4plex, I'm getting $1,000 a month in cash flow. My duplex, I'm getting $800 a month in cash flow. Those are way more than $100 a month. I'm just talking about bare minimum. I want $100 a month in cash flow. And now, keep in mind, that's after every bill has been paid and every future bill has been set aside money for. Is that tracking with me? So I want to make sure that I'm cash flowing at least $100 a month after paying the water bills if I have to, after paying the taxes, the insurance, after paying the mortgage, after setting aside money for repairs, after setting aside money for vacancy, after paying a property manager if I'm not going to do it myself. I want to make sure that I have at least $100 per month in cash flow. So your number might be different. Maybe you want $200 a month in cash flow. Maybe your area can support that. But the bottom line is, what I want is $100 per month in cash flow. And I think that's achievable. I know a lot of people who can get that. I know you can get that as well. So that's why we divide by 100. Because if you can get 50 units that give you $100 a month, that's $5,000 a month. Now, what if you got 50 units that gave you $200 a month? What if you set your goal a little higher? Or what if you want to do a little work like manage it yourself so you can get a little bit more money? Well, maybe you wouldn't need as many properties. So maybe you'd only need 25 properties at $200 a piece to get 5,000. Then you'd only need 25 properties. What if you wanted 300 per unit? Well, then you need even less, right? So that's one reason I love them. And additionally, duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes are a gateway to larger multifamily investments. They're a gateway drug, right? So getting to 50 units, if you wanted 50 units, getting there with duplexes and triplexes might take a little bit of time. But imagine if you bought one duplex every year and you did it for 20 years. That's 40 units. Well, I don't want to do it in 20 years. I want to go a little faster than that. And so what I'm looking for is that gateway to larger multis. Once you can manage a duplex and triplex and fourplex, it becomes much more manageable and easy to manage a 20 unit or a 50 unit. And then you can get there a lot faster. Nicola said, my duplex currently gives me $500 per month per unit. That is awesome, dude. I love that. I love that, right? It is totally possible to find this stuff. So again, don't let anybody tell you that you can't do it. There are so many examples of people that are doing it, and you can do it. So again, that's why I love small multifamily properties. Now, where can you find good deals on these? Where can you find good deals on these kind of properties. And by the way, Gary said, do you have an accurate cash flow calculator tool? Well, actually, a little bit later today, we're gonna actually analyze a real life deal together. Is that cool? You guys wanna, we're gonna find a real life multifamily on the market. We're gonna analyze it together, find out how much cash flow it gives, and figure out how much we should pay for it. And I'm gonna show you how I do the math on that. So hang around a little bit longer. It'll probably be 20 minutes from now. We'll probably do that, maybe 15 minutes from now, but hang tight for that. It's gonna be fun. All right, so where do you find good deals on these properties? All right, first of all, you can find them on the MLS. The MLS is the multiple listing service. It's where lots of agents put their properties. Pretty much, if you're a real estate agent and you're trying to sell a property, you put it on the MLS. Now, as a layperson, as not an agent, you don't have direct access to the MLS. The realtors hold on to that key very tightly. However, there are a few websites that can give you somewhat access, like Zillow.com will search some of the MLS, Realtor.com will search it, Redfin, REDFIN.com is a good one as well. I happen to like Realtor.com a lot. It works really well in my area, but you'll find something that works in yours maybe. But the best way, find a real estate agent. I mean, come on, like how easy is that? I'm actually gonna give you guys some homework. You guys want some homework? Yay! All right, here's your homework. Very, very simple. If you don't, I'll give you two things. First of all, if you don't have a real estate agent yet, go on your Facebook, not now because it'll distract you and we're focusing, right? I'm watching you. I see you on your Facebook. Later on tonight, go on your Facebook and write, hey, everybody, I'm looking for a good real estate agent in, insert your town name here. Does anybody have a good recommendation? Get some recommendations, start chatting with real estate agents, find somebody who's hungry and who's fun and who's cool and is technologically savvy and is a good agent. And then here's part two, the homework. If you already have an agent or after you do this, have them set you up with an automatic email alert for every small multifamily property that comes in the market in your area, maybe a 20 or 30, 40 mile radius, which means every day you'll get an email saying, or if you live in a small area, maybe every few days, get an email saying, hey, a new property came in the market that meets your numbers. Then go look at the property, maybe not in person, just go look online at the property, learn what you can about it, get more information, run the numbers, see what it makes sense, see what's going to cash flow, or even better, see, every property has a number. Every property has a number, and so just figure out what number makes sense for that property. You'll get really, really good at analyzing deals. Do that for a month or two, man, you'll be an expert. All right, so there's MLS. There's also driving for dollars. So driving for dollars is this practice where you get in your car, you drive around, and normally you look for vacant properties. But here's the beauty. Let me tell you guys another quick story. So I was talking to my contractor yesterday, and he brought with one of his employees. My contractor was working on a property. His employee was there, and his employee was like, dude, you still looking for properties? And I was like, yeah, I am. He's like, you want to buy a fourplex? And I was like, maybe. He's like, you should buy my fourplex. My landlord's a slumlord and he hates owning that property. I'm like, get me his number, because a lot of landlords hate owning their properties, because here's the truth. Most landlords suck at their business. Most landlords suck at it. They're terrible. I've been doing this business for 10 years now, and I think I'm a pretty good landlord, and I kind of understand how this all works. But most people will never learn how to be a good landlord. So their tenants take advantage of them. They don't get paid rent on time. They're constantly dealing with problems. They don't know how to run their business. Those are the guys you can contact. So here's my tip for you for driving for dollars. Get in your car and drive around, maybe for an hour every week. That could be a very simple task. 1 hour every week, set aside time, go put it on your calendar right now if you need to. When are you going to do it in the next week? Maybe 2 hours this week, do it. Cool? A little more homework for you. Drive around and take a piece of paper with you and write down the address of every small multifamily property you see, every one. And then go home, look up their address on the county assessor's website. Your county assessor has every address and every mailing address of whoever owns any property, and send each of them a letter saying, hey, I'm looking for a small multifamily property to buy. Any interest in selling? You'll be surprised at what phone calls you get, because a lot of people hate owning their properties. They inherited it, they have trouble, stuff like that. All right. By the way, a couple people said, how do I find a good agent? How to find an agent? I mean, really, like I said, go to your Facebook and ask for recommendations. It's really a great way. There's also a few agents in the chat room right now. I mean, hit one of those up if you're in that area. But honestly, you can also go to biggerpockets.com/meet, M-E-E-T. You can search there. Don't go now because you'll be distracted, but you can search there. There's a lot of cool stuff. So connect with people on the site, connect with people, go to local real estate clubs, Go to real estate clubs, find real agents there. You want to find agents who understand investing. But again, I like the Facebook approach because you get recommendations from family and friends. All right, third, Craigslist. How many of you guys are posting to Craigslist every week? Not many, right? Why not go to Craigslist and just write? They have even a spot for real estate wanted, and go just post an ad every week. Post an ad, or post it once and then renew it every week. Post an ad just saying, hey, I'm looking for, I'm looking to buy your small multifamily properties. Or maybe even better, why don't you guys go to Craigslist and look for properties that are for rent, that are owned, that are small multifamily properties. In other words, look for pictures of duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes that are for rent. Why? Because most landlords hate their job. Like, they don't want to be landlords. And they give you their phone number right there in the ad. How much easier could it be to contact these people? Hey, I'm not looking to buy or rent your property, but I really want to get started with real estate and I really want a small multifamily. Do you have any interest in talking about selling it? Yeah, 9 out of 10 will probably say, no thanks. But you don't need everyone to say it. You need 1 out of 10 to say, yeah, maybe. Make a few phone calls, see what happens. A little more homework for you guys this week. I'm giving you a lot of homework. I hope you're writing this stuff down. All right, moving on. Direct mail marketing, that means you send out letters to people in your town. So let me tell you how I got my fourplex. That fourplex is gonna give me $1,000 a month in cash flow. That's my daughter's, that's gonna pay for her college someday. So I just sent 300 letters to absentee owners in my area, people who owned property that didn't live there. I sent 300 letters out. I got 40 or so phone calls. Out of those 40 or phone calls, I got 2 people to agree to sell me their property. One of them was a house that fell through, and the other one was a fourplex that I got for $45,000 total. Now, I'm putting 100 grand of work into it, so it's not like it was in great condition. It's a big rehab that's going to take me 9 months from beginning to end to do. But at the end of the day, it's going to be totally worth it because I'll be making $1,000 a month in cash flow. Right? So that's what my life is all about. I do a lot of hard work in order to get the reward later. And I just keep building up those properties, keep buying small multifamilies to get the cash flow later. And I got that through direct mail marketing. So that's just another way to look for stuff. So what is the best way to finance a duplex, triplex, or a fourplex? What is the best way to, by the way, somebody asked, what does my mailing look like? Good question, James. Will you remind me in the Q&A time later, and I'll talk all about that. I'll even give you the exact letter that I used to get that fourplex. I'll give you the exact letter that I send out, including how I did it, instructions for everything. So but remind me later. All right, what is the best way to finance a duplex, triplex, or fourplex? There's a lot of ways to do it. For example, you could do FHA, you could do a 203K loan, you could do a conventional loan. The 203K loan is like an FHA, but it's which is that 3.5% down one, except for you can wrap the rehab costs into it. It's a beautiful thing. You can do a conventional loan. You can do a portfolio lender. A portfolio lender is like a local lender who lends their own money, not somebody else's. It's pretty awesome. You can do seller financing. Seller financing is where the seller actually carries the mortgage themselves. It's kind of a very cool thing. That's actually how I financed my 24 unit when I bought that. All right, so moving on. How do you analyze a duplex, triplex, or fourplex? By the way, guys, if you want to know more about this stuff, I know we're going super quick through this. So, for example, how do you find deals? How do you finance deals? Let me show you something real quick while we're here. Let me show you something real quick. So we're going to go over here. I'm going to go over here to Bigger Pockets, and I'm going to go up to education up here. Education, go down to webinars, and go to Webinar Archive. I'll open it in another tab. What this is now this is one of the benefits of being a pro member. If you're not a pro member, you should probably be one because you'll love it. And this is one of the biggest perks of being a pro member. Check this out. You can actually watch past webinars. So how to make 2017 your best real estate year ever. If you were not here last week for that one, watch that one. That one will change your life. How a newbie can start building wealth, how to use Bigger Pockets to become a rockstar investor, how to generate $5,000 a month from single family houses, 5 things to know before buying rental properties. I am looking for one in particular. I'm not just reading. Here we go. How to finance deals. Here's my 3 favorite low money down strategies for real estate investing. An hour and 27 minutes on that one topic. And then if I go back a little bit further, there's how to invest while working a full-time job, how to buy your first or next rental. Here's another one. How to find incredible real estate deals in a competitive market. I spent an hour and 29 minutes talking about how to find deals. So again, today's webinar, we're talking about small multifamily properties. So we're not diving super deep into each one of these aspects, but understand that if you want to learn more about it, There are a lot of resources on every one of these topics. There are blog posts, there are webinars, there are podcasts. So I encourage you guys to just dig in deeper, write down what you want to learn more about, and go learn more about it. Cool? All right, moving back to our slides again. We talked about, again, portfolio lenders, seller financing, all that stuff. So let's go on to how to analyze a duplex, triplex, or fourplex. Oh, David said, what does it cost to be a pro member? So a pro membership is $290 a year. So it works out to like, I don't know, what's that, 90 cents a day or something like that. It's under $1 a day. But I do have a discount code. I'll give you guys later if you want it. Remind me later if I don't mention it, but I should because it's in my slide. So I will give it to you later, but hang tight. All right, how do I analyze a duplex, a triplex, or a fourplex? So we're gonna look at two quick methods. First of all, you can do it by hand. Now, when I first started, I used to analyze by hand, and then later I moved to a spreadsheet, and those are fine. Both those ways are fine, but let's go over them. First of all, very like, what's the word? Very basically, this is how you analyze a multifamily. Income minus expenses equals cash flow. So if you are making $2,000 a month in income, if you're making $2,000 a month in income, and all of your expenses, everything, including setting aside money for vacancy and setting aside money for a new roof 20 years from now, and making sure you're paying the taxes and insurance, after all the expenses, let's say all the expenses were $1,200 a month. So you are bringing in $2,000, you are going out $1,200. Your cash flow, therefore, is, math nerds, $800, right? That's a very simple definition of cash flow. But it's a little more complicated than that. So again, I want to show you the basics of how that works. The reason it gets a little more complicated though is because there's more than just like income and expenses. There's more than just income expenses. So what is income? Well, it could be rent, but it also could be things like laundry income or storage income, things like that. So income's pretty straightforward. Most of you guys can do that, but expenses where people end up running into trouble. There's a lot of expenses, and if you forget some, you might end up buying a deal you thought was good and actually wasn't. So for example, there's taxes, there's insurance, there's maybe water, sewer, and garbage. There's maybe flood insurance, electricity, loan points and fees, management fees, HOA fees, PMI, repairs, CapEx, vacancy, all these things that could cause you to screw up. And that's why you can do it by hand. And in fact, there's a video over on YouTube where if you want to learn how to do it by hand, I call it the 4-square method. There's a way to analyze deals by hand using what's called the 4-square method. It takes about 25 minutes to analyze one deal, but you can learn the cash flow, the cash on cash return, and a couple other cool numbers using this 4-square method. Just type into YouTube later if you want to know it. 4-square method, bigger pockets, you'll probably find it. Or go to youtube.com/biggerpockets and search our videos. Anyway, let me go on and show you option number 2 though. What I do. I don't actually analyze deals by hand ever, because I don't have time for it. Again, like I said, my goal is not to work 100 hours a week. My goal is work as little as possible so I can spend the most time with my family that I can. So I streamline this by using the Bigger Pockets analysis tools. Now, I mentioned earlier that we do have some software. I want to show you guys kind of how it works, but before we do, let me find a property. Let's find a property together that we want to analyze. Cool? We're going to do a real life analysis right now. We're going to decide what we want to buy. We're going to look on the market. Now, if it's a little blurry for you, there's a little blue reconnect button on your screen. Hopefully you can click that, but hopefully it's not too bad. But anyway, let's go ahead and look for a property. Let's go and look in 98520. Now, when you see the numbers, some of you are going to say these properties are super cheap, like this one. Some of you are going to say they're super expensive. But you know what? Sometimes properties are cheap in some areas, but every area is different, right? I don't want you guys to shut your brain off because my area happens to be cheaper than other areas. My rents are also much cheaper. In fact, there's a video that came out on Bigger Pockets YouTube page the other day, a property in Denver, one of the most expensive markets in the country. And they were doing the numbers and they found a property that cash flowed in Denver. So again, I don't care if properties are $34,000 or $340,000 or $3.4 million. It doesn't matter. So people just like to use that as an excuse of why they can't invest. Oh, I can't find a house for that cheap. Well, neither can I. Anyway, so interesting, this house, by the way. I've been in this house before. Yeah, this house is a disaster. Do they show pictures? We're not going to analyze this. I'm just curious. Yeah, this house is a disaster in a terrible location. Needs like a big gut rehab. They told me they would take $20,000 for this house. I laughed at them. Yeah, I was like, man, maybe if you paid me $20,000, I'd buy it. Anyway, moving on. I'm not going to gripe about that. All right, so let's go. I'm going to go up here. Realtor.com is where I'm searching right now. It's a pretty good search of the MLS. What I like to do is up here at the top, it says single family homes. I'm going to go up here. I'm going to uncheck that, and I'm going to check multifamily instead. What it's going to do is going to reset it. And now I've got a bunch of multifamily. So I've got this one here. Oh, that's a brand new one. I got this one here for 137, this one for 162, this one for 209, this one for 339. That's a 20 unit, I think it is, or 10 unit maybe. Anyway, and there's this one over here for 349. So, you know, this one's kind of a fun one, but I've analyzed it before. I kind of want to look at this one, even though there's no pictures. 74.9. Let's just look at what it says. Okay, so it's this property right here. It is a duplex, front and back. Each is a 1-bedroom, 1-bath, long-term tenants, needs some TLC. Front unit is larger than the back unit. Parking available in the rear. All right, well, you know, I don't love that we can't see pictures of the inside, but why don't we analyze this one for fun anyway? Just because we'll make some assumptions. We're going to make a few assumptions here. Cool? All right, so what do you guys think of this property? It is a duplex, 2 units, $74,000. And it looks like there are front and back. I wonder if there's 2 separate houses. Does it say? Let's go walk down the street a little bit and go look and see if we can see the back. Walk one more. Can't really see. What's the neighborhood look like? Okay, I know this neighborhood. This isn't terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible. In fact, I have a property pretty close to here. Anyway, okay, let's move on. I mean, let's go analyze this deal. Let's figure out this one. So this property is a duplex. Each one is a 1-bedroom and 1-bath. This will probably rent for $500 per month each. And let's just assume it needs $10,000 of work. We don't actually know, but just for the fun of it right now, why don't we just assume that it needs $10,000? So first question I have for you guys. Do you think this is a good deal? Do you think this is a good deal? So I'm going to go actually over in the chat area. I'm going to create a poll. It's going to say good or bad. So you should see that now. Good, bad, and not sure. Okay, we're starting the poll. Good, bad, or not sure. What do you guys think? So we got a duplex for $74,900, and we're going to rent for $500 per month each. We've got 24% of people said good, 28% said bad, and 46% of people said they're not sure. So a good half of you just don't know. And now we're actually level 27 and 27, good and bad. So it's almost like half of you have no idea. The other half is completely divided. You know what is funny about that? Like, that's just how it is because we haven't run the numbers yet, right? And here's the sad part. Most people buy real estate based on not much more than what you just did. Just guesses. So stupid, right? It means half the people in this world are buying deals they never should have bought. And they're having a lot of trouble. So let's go ahead and analyze this deal together using the BiggerPockets analysis tools. Cool? All right, let's go here. Now, we're going to make a few assumptions. Obviously, I haven't walked through the property yet. But let's go over here to the BiggerPockets rental property calculator. You can get here by going to clicking tools at the top, or go to biggerpockets.com/analysis. I'll show you what that is. Analysis. If you go there, biggerpockets.com/analysis, you're going to land on this page. It tells you a little bit about how the calculators work. Down here, we're going to start your analysis. And then we have 4 choices. We have a fix and flip analysis. We have a rental property calculator. We have a BRRRR calculator, which is one of my favorite strategies. And we have a wholesaling calculator. Well, since we're going to buy this as a rental property, should we do that one? Probably. All right, let's go ahead and start this. Now, the beautiful part about using software is it doesn't take 25 minutes to analyze a deal. It takes less than 5. So we're going to call this the East First Duplex. You can call it whatever you want. Property address was 917 East First Street. City of Aberdeen, Washington, 98520. Annual property taxes. Now, if anything you guys don't know in here, if you're working through this and you don't know the answer to one of the questions, there's actually a fairly easy way to figure it out. You go to your county assessor's website for the taxes. But what about like MLS number? What about sales description? How do you know all this stuff? I'm so confused. I'm going to go back to watching Dancing with the Stars and throwing my life away on the couch. No, don't do that. So with these calculators, we actually help you guys learn how to analyze a deal while you're analyzing the deal with these little black question marks, well, white question marks and black circles. All you do is hover over these question marks, and it teaches you each and every part about how to fill it out. And there's even links inside some of them to teach you more. But this one, annual property taxes. How much of the annual whole year property taxes on the property? If unsure, this info is typically publicly available on your county assessor's website. Okay, well, why don't we go head over to the county assessor's website? So let's go to Google. We type in Grays Harbor County. That's the county I'm in. Now, every county is a little bit different, but I happen to know where mine is. It's under site features, parcel search, and the address was what, 917 First? See what it says. We've got East First and State Route. That one, we want this one. All right, here's the property. Here's a picture of it from the outside. Okay. We know the duplex, it says built in 1910. It's an old property. We know that, let's see, down here at the bottom, it says tax information. I'm going to go there. Down here, I can see that taxes were $1,025. Okay, well, there's a number. So let's go and plug that in right there. We're good there. Now we want to add a photo. Sure, why not? We'll go take a quick photo of this. Why don't I actually just take the photo from the county? It's a little bit nicer. So I'm going to go ahead and upload that photo right there. I'm going to drag it onto choose file. Sales description. Typically what I do for that, I just take whatever the agent wrote. That's usually good enough for me. And that's it for page one. Everybody feeling comfortable so far with page one? Nod your head. Just kidding, I can't see you, but whatever. All right, moving on to page two. There's only 3 pages total and then the results. So what are we going to buy this for? Why don't we go ahead and estimate a little lower? Let's say we're going to give them a little bit of a lower offer. How about $70,000? Does that sound cool? If we paid $70,000 for it, now what about the after repair value? Oh no, I don't know how to figure that out. I'm going to go back to watching, I don't know, Dancing with the Stars again, right? No, just hover over the question mark, learn how to figure this stuff out, and there's even a link to an article on how to estimate the ARV. But in this case, because I don't know, I'm going to go ahead and put 75. I don't actually know, so because I don't know the inside, so I'm just going to guess whatever they're offering or what they're asking for it as what it's worth. Now, closing costs, how much are those costing? Well, hover over the question mark if you want to learn more, but I'm going to guess probably about $2,500. And then repair costs, what did we say? $10,000, we'll say. It could be more, but right now that gives us enough. If you need help estimating your repair costs, check this out. You can actually click this expand cost button and go step by step, roof, concrete, gutters, garage, siding, all the way through, which is kind of cool. All right, now we're under the loan. Obviously, we want to buy a loan. We want to get a loan for this. Oh, by the way, Andrew said, why did I skip MLS number? Only because it doesn't make a difference right now for our analyzing purposes, and I'm trying to go quick. All right, so loan details. Well, I don't want to pay cash, do I? Maybe I do. Okay, great. If not, I'm going to go ahead and say, how about a 20% down payment? That sound good? Okay, we'll do 20% down payment and an interest rate of, how about we go 5%? All right, and then are there any closing costs that we want to add in here, like points and stuff? If you want to learn more about that, hit the question mark, but I kind of included those up here under purchase closing costs, so I will ignore all that right there. It is going to be a 30-year mortgage. That's what I like to use, and I'm not going to worry about cap rate because that's typically only for commercial properties. Now we're on page 3. Everybody feeling good so far? Everybody feeling all right? All right, let's go here. Total gross monthly rent. Well, there's 2 units. So I'm going to go ahead and add a unit. Rent on one is $500, and rent on the other is $500. Any other income? I mean, are they paying? Is there lawn care? Maybe. I mean, maybe when we go look at the property, maybe they pay money for, I should say, like laundry or something. Not lawn care, laundry, but probably not. Probably not. All right, so let's go to the next section, expenses. Now, this is where that big chart comes we talked about earlier of all those expenses that people forget. Let's just walk through one at a time. Electricity. Now, I don't know for sure, but I'm guessing that the units are separately metered, which means that they pay their own electricity. I don't pay it. So I'm going to leave that blank. Water and sewer, that's going to be hard to know. I probably want to call the real estate agent to find out, but I think that they might actually pay their own on this one. Let's assume for a moment that they pay their own, and we'll leave that one blank. Same with garbage. And PMI, because we're putting 20% down, we're not going to worry about that. If you want to know more about that, hover over the question mark. Homeowners association fees, don't have to worry about that. Monthly insurance, I do have to pay that. If you don't know how to find that out, just talk to an insurance agent. They can give you a pretty quick estimate. And then anything else? What about lawn care? What about snow removal? Well, Probably, I'm guessing I'll actually probably have to do lawn care here. Now, we only have lawn care for 4 months out of the year because it rains for the other, and it's dreary and cold the other 8 months. But I'm going to go ahead and estimate probably about $35 a month on average for lawn care. All right, so here we are on those expenses. Now we've got the variable expenses. These things are based on the income. So they're a percentage based on income. So we have total income of $1,000 a month. So that means our vacancy, if we chose 5% vacancy, it would be $50 a month. Typically, I do about 5% vacancy. Then we got repairs and maintenance. You know, for this property, I might go ahead and say, because we're going to fix it up a little bit, we're putting 10 grand into it. So how about we say, I don't know, how about 5% for there, and how about 8% for CapEx? CapEx are things like a new roof, new windows, new siding, things that have to be replaced every 20 or 30 years, but you might as well save up for it. In fact, I'm actually going to go and take repairs and maintenance up a little bit as well. I'll go 8 and 8. So I'll have 160 total for these things. Now, how did I get that number? If you want to learn more, hover over the question mark. There's even a link to an article I wrote on how to estimate CapEx. So lastly, we got property management. Do I want to manage this myself, or do I want to hire someone else to manage it for me? What do you guys think? How about we hire someone else? I want passive income. All right, so I'm going to choose 9%. My manager's about 9% right now. You might pay anywhere between 8 and 12. All right, and lastly, we got our future assumptions. Now, these are optional. You can leave them blank if you want, but I assume that income will go up a little bit. You know, on average, inflation's been about 3% over the past 100 years. So I'm going to go ahead and go less than that and say 1%. 1% income growth, property value will probably go 1%. Our expenses might go up by 1%. And our sales expenses, meaning someday when I sell the property, I might pay 9% in sales expenses. I got to pay an agent to sell it. I got to pay a couple other percent for, you know, closing costs. But this is what I got. So now we're at the very end of this project, our analysis here. Let's find out what it's going to do. I already asked you guys earlier, and half of you thought you didn't know, and the other half were evenly split. So let's find out where we're all at. So according to the numbers we came up with, if everything we came up with was true, you know, and we want to double check a few things like who pays water and garbage, but if this was true, our monthly income would be $1,000 a month. Our expenses might be $796, which means our cash flow is looking at $203 per month. Hey, look at that. That actually meets my rule of $100 per month per unit. Now, granted, when I look down here at the cash on cash return, personally, I only buy stuff if I can get at least a 12% cash on cash return. I shouldn't say only, but I prefer to only buy stuff with a 12% cash on cash return. I can also look at my total cash needed. I can look at a summary of everything we just did here on the side. I can look at a breakdown of my expenses. I can look at my breakdown of my income. I can even see what the 50% rule says. In fact, look at how close the 50% rule is to our cash flow. Now, the 50% rule, if you want to know more about that, we can talk about it later, but just interesting. Down below, I can look at our income expense ratio. Like, how does it compare to the 2% rule? Yeah, it's at 1.2%. I can look at how much equity I might have, my gross rent multiplier, my debt coverage ratio. Below that, I can see year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 10, 20, 30, kind of get a little view of the future. On if I bought this property and then, you know, held onto it for 10 years, I might average a 7.9% cash on cash return, or a total return. If I kept it for 30 years, I'm only average a 6.9% total return. Interesting. I can also see my equity growing over time. I can see my loan going down. Now, guys, this property, like I said, I like it, but I don't love it. I don't love that I'm only getting a 9% cash on cash return. I want to say 12%. So check this out. Watch how fast I can edit this thing. This is kind of fun. I go here to page, edit the report. I click next step. I'm going to change my price. Instead of $70,000, what if we offered him $60,000 and we didn't change anything else? What if that was it? Okay, let's go find out. We didn't change anything else other than that number. And in what, 20 seconds, we're going to reanalyze this and determine if this makes more sense. Hey, look at this. Now we're at $240 a month in cash flow and a 12% cash on cash return, which means if my rule was $100 a month in cash flow and I wanted a 12% cash on cash return, this property makes sense for me. Like I said, every property has a number. Your job is to find out what that number is and then make an offer and try to put it together. Now, maybe you don't have the cash needed for this. And if you want to know how to buy properties with no money down, I wrote a whole book on it, on how to invest in real estate with no and low money down. But maybe you could find a partner to come up with this. Maybe you could find a private lender. Maybe you could find a seller finance deal to do this. Again, there's a lot of different options that you guys have. Now, a couple more quick things I'll show you. If I click more actions, I can download a PDF report that shows exactly what this report shows, but I can also share a PDF report. I want to show you that because I actually want to share with you guys. So go to the chat room right now, go over to the chat room and look. You should see in the chat room this link right here. So I copied the link just by clicking on it, and then I'm going to go ahead and put it in the chat room. Let me write it like 5 times so everyone sees it. All right, so Chris asked a good question. He said, well, let me go to the thing and then we'll talk about Chris's question. Let me go to this page and I'll paste it in here. All right, so if we go down here, notice that it was a negative return the first couple of years. Actually, it was when we did the first time, there was a negative return. Now it's only 0%. So he asked, why is it negative, or why are we at 0% now? Well, it's because if you remember, I assumed that the after repair value was only 75,000, but we bought it for 70, which means if we bought it and then sold it a year later, it's probably only worth like a little over 70,000, which means that we'd probably lose money because we got to pay an agent to sell it. We got to pay 9% total for closing costs to sell the property. So check this out, by the way, Bigger Pockets water bottle, pretty fancy. All right, so that's why it was a negative return. So that's why I don't like to buy it. But now that we're buying it cheaper, maybe we can get a little better deal. Now, a couple more quick things here while we're here. You can also, if you are interested, you can copy the report to another user. My assistant, Tracy, who's kind of my acquisitions manager, she does this all the time. She'll analyze deals and send it to me. I'll analyze deals, send it to her, which is kind of cool. I can upload a company logo, so you can actually white label these reports. You can replace the Bigger Pockets logo with your own company's logo, which is kind of sexy. And you can also reanalyze the report. Like maybe I wanted to try this as a flip, or maybe I want to try it as a BRRRR property. I love BRRRR investing, one of my favorite things. We can talk about that in the Q&A if you want to know more about it. And it copies over most of the information, so I don't have to spend as much time later analyzing the deal. So I can go with stuff like this. I can, in less than what, I don't know, 30 seconds, I can go reanalyze the deal as a BRRRR property, and we can see it doesn't make any sense now at that. Go ahead and try it. Let's see what happens if we just make any changes. As a BRRRR property now, what does it do? Anyway, kind of cool. I like to do that. That way you can try. Maybe a property makes a better flip than a rental. Maybe it makes a better BRRRR property. Maybe it makes a better whatever, right? So you can run the numbers in different ways. So again, it's kind of cool. Something I like doing quite a bit, but that's what it is. Let's go back to our slides. We got a few more things to talk about. So somebody asked, is this a pro tool? Sort of. So what this tool is if you are a pro member, you get unlimited access to it. So you can upload your company reports, you can generate the PDFs, all that stuff. If you are a free member, you can get 5 uses of it. So go try it out, see what you think, play with it. And if you like it, then consider upgrading to pro. Like I said, pro is like less than $1 a day. It works out to, it's $2.90 a year. I do have a discount code, hang tight for that. But if you're interested in using that all the time, I highly recommend upgrading to pro. My kind of reasoning is this. If I can buy one more deal my entire life because of this calculator, one more deal, it pays for a pro membership forever. I mean, like so much, right? In fact, or even more importantly that, if I didn't buy a bad deal, right? If I thought I was going to buy a deal and then I ran the numbers and determined that it was a bad deal, I shouldn't buy it, it could save me tens of thousands of dollars. Does that make sense? So that's why like something like a $290 for a pro membership per year, like I truly believe that could help somebody save tens of thousands of dollars or make tens of thousands of dollars. So if you're thinking about, if you're on the fence, try it out, see what you think. There's a 30-day guarantee on your pro membership. So try it out. But enough about that. Let's move on. That's more stuff to talk about. Here's a quick summary of where we're at in today's presentation, because I know we're already at the 1 hour mark. I was hoping to be done by now. Raphael said, what's a BRRRR property? I'll explain a little bit later because I love BRRRR investing. Here, I know we're at an hour. I'm gonna probably got what 15 minutes left to cover this stuff. We're gonna talk about we talked about analyzing it. We're gonna talk about what to watch out for. You guys need to pay attention to that. That's huge. We'll talk about some pro tools you can use on your journey. We'll talk about the final door prizes. Remember, I got a couple more door prizes, including that book, 7 Years to 7-Figure Wealth, and I'll do Q&A at the end. Cool. All right, let's move on. We'll hit this up quick. So, what are some dangers? What are some dangers to be aware of when investing in duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes? Well, first of all, the condition of the property and the location matter more than you think. The condition of the property and the location matter more than you think. In other words, sometimes people buy stuff because they think it's a good deal. They think it's a good deal, but it's not a good deal. Instead, they buy properties they should have never bought because the numbers they thought looked good. But understand the condition. Like, well, let's say you bought a property and you were making $200 a month in cash flow, but every year you had to spend $10,000 on repairs. Does that make it a good deal? Of course not. So the location of the property matter a lot. Or what if you bought a property that the numbers looked really good, but it was in a location where you can't get good tenants that pay you rent? Then is it a good deal? Of course not. So pay attention to the property, the location, and the condition. Secondly, multifamily properties require more landlording than single-family homes. I don't know why it is, but just people who live in multifamilies tend to complain more. They tend to have more problems. They tend to smoke more often in the houses. They tend to be a little lower income. And so it just takes a little bit more landlording. Now, it doesn't mean you have to do it. Maybe you want to hire a property manager, but it does mean that it takes a little bit more effort. Third, danger to be aware of. Just because it's a duplex, triplex, or fourplex doesn't mean it's a good deal. I'm going to say that again. Just because it is a duplex, triplex, or fourplex doesn't mean it's a good deal. You've got to do your math. I think a lot of times I talk a lot about multifamilies, and I think people tend to think that, that any deal, if it's a multifamily, must be good, but it's not. You've got to do the math, and you've got to do the right math. And last, fourth, another big danger to be aware of, fear can cause you to stop or to never start, causing you to miss out on the greatest gifts that life has in store for you. And I know this is kind of like what the word like esoteric thing. It's not like a tangible thing, but understand, guys, I do these webinars all the time. Like, very few people actually go out there and do the stuff I'm talking about. I've given you guys so many action steps today on what you need to do to get out there and start crushing it. How many of you are going to actually do it and take action? Most of you won't. Most of you are stuck in fear, and you're going to be just stuck there because, it's too scary to go out and buy a property. So I want to encourage you guys not to do that. To help you with that, I just want to give you guys this free gift. Write it down on your worksheet if you can, or download it later, just so you're not distracted. But download www.biggerpockets.com/duplex book. What this book is, I want to give you guys something that will help you take action and not just cause that fear. It's just a free book I wrote called The Ultimate Guide to Buying a Duplex. It's like a 5,000 word essay that I wrote for my brother on how to buy a property, because my brother was thinking about buying a duplex. So go ahead and download that, totally free, again, just because I think you guys are awesome and you hung around this long. That is just a free gift for you guys. Biggerpockets.com/duplex book. But don't read it now because it'll get you distracted, and we got some cool stuff to talk about still. So let's go back to talking about fear again. Investing in real estate, guys, feels like this, right? You know what I'm talking about? Like, it feels like you're jumping off a cliff sometimes. You can't see the bottom. You're nervous. You're scared. You feel like you're leaving your friends, your family. Everyone thinks you're crazy. And you're just jumping. You don't want to lose money. You don't want to buy a bad deal. You don't want your mom saying, "I told you so." You don't want your spouse, your wife, or husband saying, "I told you we shouldn't have done that. Now we lost 40 grand, our retirement. There it goes. Now I'm leaving you for my secretary," right? Like, we have this fear that's like sometimes unwarranted, but sometimes it is warranted. We don't want to lose money. We don't want to jump into what we don't know. But the truth is, like, that's not what real estate is. This is just a lie that your brain tells you to keep you from taking action, from keeping you from going outside your comfort zone. This is what real estate actually looks like. It's a path, right? It's something that you walk through. It's a path that's been walked by millions of people before you. It's nothing new. There's nothing new in this game. Like, I'm not inventing new things here. Everything we're talking about has been done for hundreds of years. And that's our goal at Bigger Pockets, is to help you not jump off a cliff. We want to help you walk that well-traveled path. Now, I'm not going to lie to you and say that the path is always easy. It is still a path that sometimes you have to go up hills and valleys, and you might stumble and fall sometimes. So that's a crickety old path right there, right? Like, it's not always easy, guys, but it is a path that we are here to help you with. There are 600,000 members on Bigger Pockets. Just let that sink in. 600,000 members on Bigger Pockets that are wanting to help you. We're in this together. We're a community designed to help each other invest. And understand that this is not theory. I'm not talking about like some theory of this is what a duplex could do. And I'm not like a college professor teaching theory. The stuff I'm talking about today is real life. This is how thousands and thousands and even millions of real estate investors, including myself, have found financial freedom through real estate investing, through small multifamily properties. And it is amazing. Now, I've got 3 questions for you guys. I want you to actually answer these in the Q&A time. In the Q&A, or sorry, in the Q&A, answer the Q&A questions, these 3 questions in the chat area. Will you do that for me? Okay, question number 1. Question number 1. Do you have some ideas now on how you're going to start looking for duplexes, triplexes, or fourplexes? Do you have at least an idea of how you're going to start? This kind of helps me know if what we talked about today is sinking in at all. So yes or no, do you have some ideas of how you're going to start looking for duplexes, triplexes, or fourplexes? Second question. Do you have some ideas on how you'll finance those investments? Do you at least have an idea on how you're going to start financing them? And you don't have to, I mean, some of you might not, and you can watch like the webinar I do on financing, or you can read a book on it, you can read blog posts on it, whatever. Third, do you know how to properly analyze deals to ensure positive cash flow? I hope so. We just talked about, at least you know how to find out how to do it. You know how to use the calculators and stuff like that. Good. Now, those are kind of, I don't want to call them trick questions, but there's a reason I asked those questions, and a ton of you guys are saying yes. But I'm going to show you guys one of my favorite quotes of all time. I love this quote because it totally speaks to a major problem with people getting into real estate. It says this. So here, this is not the quote. Here's some bad news. It's with the quote. Derek Sivers, who was a guy who was an entrepreneur, he said, "If more information was the answer, we would all be billionaires with perfect abs." I'm going to read that again. If more information was the answer, we would all be billionaires with perfect abs. Right? So what do I mean by that? I mean, I asked you these questions. Do you have an idea on how you're going to start looking? Do you have ideas on how you're financed? Do you know how to analyze a deal? Does any of that actually matter? Well, sure, it matters. But if all you needed was that information, you would be a billionaire already. Information alone is never going to give you the success that you want. Because again, if information was all you needed, we all know how to become billionaires. We all know how to get perfect abs. What's the difference? Why don't we have it? Because we don't do it. We don't take action. We don't get out there and actually do the things that we've learned. Like, how many people come to these webinars every week? I mean, there's over 1,000 people that were on this webinar today. How many of you guys are actually going to take action on this? I don't know. One of my other favorite quotes says this, Jim Rohn: "If you really want to do something, you'll find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse." This is kind of convicting for me sometimes, because like, I think, in a lot of areas of my life, like I said, like 2 years ago, I even said on the podcast to 100,000 people, I said, I'm going to get my pilot's license in 2016. But you know what? I'm like, I still don't have my pilot's license. Why? Did it really, like, did I just not do it? I have a lot of excuses. Oh, I couldn't find the right plane. I couldn't find a pilot to take me. I couldn't do this. I couldn't do that. No, if I really wanted it, I would have done it. But I didn't. I found an excuse. And it's kind of telling, right? So are you guys somebody who's going to find an excuse? You're going to find somebody who actually does it, right? So just let that sink in. So let me give an example of somebody who actually did it. So I got this email a while back from Dennis. I love this. Dennis said, "Hey, Brandon, I wanted to thank you and BP after attending your webinar on how to make $1 million in real estate." That's a webinar I did last summer. If you want to watch it, it's in the pro replay room. But after attending your webinar on how to make $1 million, I got inspired to take action. So last week, I closed on my first deal. I now have a triplex that is rented and will cash flow very well for me. I can now call myself a real estate investor. I have a plan moving forward, and it'll make my business a success. Thank you. So you guys, Dennis is somebody who didn't just show up to a webinar and then leave and not take action, right? He's somebody that he didn't make excuses. He didn't say, "Oh, the market's bad. I can't get financing. I don't know where to look. I don't know what to do," and go back to watching Dancing with the Stars, right? Dennis went out there and did it. So that's my encouragement to you guys right now. That's my encouragement right now, is don't go back to the life you were leading. You're excited about real estate right now, right? Don't let that drop. Don't let that slide. Be excited about it and then go out and do it. I want you guys, every single person on this webinar, to email me 3 months from now and say, "Brandon, I took your advice. I went out, I bought a property." Like, I want to hear that, because I want to see people take action. But I know the sad truth that if you really want it, you'll do it. And if you don't, you'll find an excuse. And too many people take excuses. Now, I don't know why you guys came here today. Like I said, there was over 1,000 people here today. I don't know why you came here. Maybe you were just getting started. Maybe you're tired of working your full-time job. Maybe you've been doing this for years. You just want something else. Maybe you need to start preparing for your retirement. Maybe you're just tired of being like a wantrepreneur, somebody who's always talking about the next big thing and not actually doing it. Like, again, I don't know why, but there is something that like is all in common. Like, no matter what your goal is, I believe that Bigger Pockets can help you get there. Our goal at BiggerPockets is to make you reach your financial goals through real estate. Now, whether that's buying small multifamilies, whether it's flipping, buying apartment complexes, whatever you need to succeed, I believe we can help you with that. So in addition to all the free content we have, again, 99% of the content we have out there is free. We've got books that you can pay on Amazon for, but 90% of the content is free. But in addition to that, BiggerPockets, we've also created some tools to help you get there faster and with less pain. And that's part of our pro membership. Now, I know a lot of you guys are pro members already, and you guys rock. So congratulations for being pro already. But those who are not pro, let me take a minute and explain why maybe you want to consider it. After that, I'm going to do Q&A and we're going to have some fun there. But let me just spend a couple minutes explaining why you might like BiggerPockets Pro, and if you're not sure about it. First of all, as a pro member, you can make better decisions on what you buy with unlimited access to the property analysis software. In other words, you can find out if the property is worth offering on, how much is worth offering on, whether or not it's a bad idea, a good idea, if you're going to lose money on it. You can kind of estimate those things, right? And you can do multiple ones a day. You could do 10 a day if you really wanted to. In fact, let me show you guys this. So we talked about this earlier, and there's those PDF reports like this. As a pro member, you can also send these to your real estate agent, to your partner, to a hard money lender, to a private money lender. In fact, when I even go to a bank for a loan, I always give them a copy of this because lenders love to see numbers. They love to know that you are confident in what you've done in the deal. And so like I print these out on every deal that I do and give them to like the lender, my agent. I show my wife every single time I buy a deal or I'm about to. I always show her these deals and we talk through these numbers together. I walk through every step of this and she can see what I'm doing. She can see where my numbers come from. She can see the expenses. So again, this is very, very, very important. And it's also very important just for me, right? It helps me feel confident that I'm not screwing up. You know, I bought a property one time. I bought a duplex. Horrible deal. Bought a duplex. I turned it into a single family house. I wanted to flip it. And I ended up losing $10,000 in 2 years of my life working on that project. Out of the last 10 years I've been doing this, 2 of it were wasted on that one deal. Why? Because I didn't analyze my numbers good enough. Imagine if I would have just run the numbers using the BiggerPockets calculators. I would have seen that a flip made no sense on that property. But you know what did make sense? I could have turned the property to a triplex instead and been cash flowing $1,000 a month. Nope. I did my numbers on a spreadsheet that I found on the internet and I ended up forgetting some important numbers and ended up losing 10 grand. Again, that's why there's so much value in doing your math correctly. It's huge. Also, as a pro member, you get unlimited access to BiggerPockets Meet, which is where you can search and sort and connect with members, all 650,000 BiggerPockets members. You can also post ads in the marketplace. So if you need something, if you're looking for something, post an ad in the marketplace. You get unlimited keyword alerts. You can set up alerts for properties when they get listed on the BiggerPockets marketplace. You can get SMS alerts, which means text message alerts, which is awesome if you guys are looking for deals in the marketplace. You get unlimited webinar replays as well. So if you guys enjoy like these webinars, learning this stuff, again, there's over 50 hours of webinars, over 50 hours of content in the pro replay room. What's that worth? What would you have to pay to spend 50 hours with me? I don't know if you want to spend 50 hours with me, but that's there. Also, other benefits, you get discounts and special promotions through BiggerPockets perks. You get access to the pro-only forum on BiggerPockets. That's only for pro members. You can build trust and credibility with a profile introduction video. Yeah, this is huge. You actually, on your BiggerPockets profile, you can put a video. How many of you guys have a video on your profile? Anybody? Some of you guys probably do. I do. Go look at my video later. Why is that important? Because if I'm trying to build relationships on BP, if I'm trying to find private lenders, if I'm trying to find people to work with, I want them to know who I am. So I made a video that explains who I am, what I do, what I want, what I'm looking for. You definitely should do the same thing. Also, fill out your profile fully. Whether you're a pro member or a free member, fill out your profile, guys. It's so helpful in helping people get to know you. Also, having that little pro badge next to your name shows the world that you're serious. It says, you know what? I'm not going to be selling Mary Kay products while watching Dance with the Stars on the couch eating nachos next month. I'm going to be like fully invested. I'm jumping in the deep end buck naked because I'm committed to this thing. I'm a pro member, right? It tells everybody on BiggerPockets that you are committed to this. And lastly, you help support the mission of BiggerPockets. We love our pro members for that. Now, one quick last kind of story of somebody who took action, which I love this story. This person sent me a private message and they said, I just wanted to say thank you for the webinar. It was very informative and gave me several good ideas. I signed up for pro and I used the calculator you demonstrated to evaluate and make offers on 2 deals that I found. One was accepted, woohoo, currently listed on the marketplace. And the other, the seller was unyielding in price even after I showed them the numbers. Oh well, their loss. So again, just want to say hello and thanks. You know what I love about this is that at the end of the day, this person, yeah, they got a deal, which is awesome. I mean, how many of you guys got deals today? None of you? All right, some of you. I know somebody's closing on, Tony's closing on his duplex here in the next week, right? That's awesome. But a lot of people didn't. So first of all, they got a deal accepted, which is awesome. But best of all, guys, best of all, this person didn't let emotion cause them to buy a bad deal. They didn't let bad math encourage them to buy a bad deal. They said no. They were flippant about it. They're like, oh, well, they're lost. There's always the next one, because they let math speak for them. And that's what I love about that. I love about that story. So how much is Bigger Pockets Pro? So Bigger Pockets Pro is not, like I said, we're not the gurus that are 100,000 or 50,000, 20,000, 10,000. We don't believe in that stuff, even though those are actual numbers that some of the gurus charge. And Bigger Pockets we could turn into $1 billion company tomorrow by charging what the gurus charge for their products. We could convince people to pay us $50,000 for coaching and training and stuff they don't need, but we don't. We try to keep Bigger Pockets Pro, the tools, as reasonable, as cheap as possible. So I said they're $290 a year for Bigger Pockets Pro membership. But like I said, if you are interested in joining, if you guys use coupon code 111, that's coupon code 111, very easy coupon code to remember, you guys will actually save 20% on a pro annual membership. So instead of being $290 a year, it works out to $232 a year. And that is every year. So if you stayed a pro member for 5 years, that's every year you get that 20% off, and that is locked in. So when Bigger Pockets Pro goes up in price, which it is going up in price soon, you guys get locked in at the lower price as well. So again, that's a $50 value now, but over time, that can be significantly more. But it's actually more than that. There's more reasons why I would encourage you guys. If you're thinking about joining Pro, I've actually got a total of 7 different bonuses today that I want to share with you guys. The first one was a discount. But secondly, again, I want to provide so much massive value that there's no reason not to upgrade. So the second thing is the most expensive thing we sell on all of Bigger Pockets. It is the 2012 Bigger Pockets Conference Audio. It's over 25 hours of real estate training. We normally sell it for $300 in the Bigger Pockets store. You can go buy it for $300 right now. You get that included tonight for no additional charge. It's included with every Pro annual membership tonight. So again, that's worth more than the cost of Pro right there. And you guys can start listening to recordings of our 2012 conference, learning from some of the smartest real estate investors in the country. Also, if you want to learn more about financing deals, like how do you actually get those deals financed if you don't have a lot of money, we're including a digital copy of the book on investing in real estate with no and low money down. That was my first full-length book. It's been read by tens of thousands of people. People seem to like that a lot. So if you guys are interested in that, you'll get that copy immediately. You'll get it in digital format. You can read it on your Kindle, on your iPad, on your iPhone, on your computer, wherever you want to listen to or read it, you can do that. Now, speaking of listening, bonus number 4, we're also including the audiobook of that as well, which means you can listen while you're walking the dog, while you're driving to work. I mean, turn your car time into university time. Quit listening to music and start listening to some real estate education. So we're going to include a digital copy of this book as well. Now, bonus number 5 and 6, we're including a digital bonus book called How to Find Incredible Real Estate Deals. That's a short book. You can read it in under an hour, and it's very to the point. Try this, try this, try this, try this, try this on how to find deals, how to use direct mail marketing, how to use driving for dollars, how to use the MLS. That book's going to help you guys find more deals. And then there's these interviews that I did. We talked about that path earlier, how this path has been walked by millions of people before. This is a perfect example of that. I did these interviews with guys like Ben Leibovich, Chad Carson, Jay Scott, Doug Larson, Mike Simmons, Michael Blanc, and Aaron Mazzrillo. There's over 6 hours of video content. This is not the podcast. This is totally unique to this. 6 hours of video or MP3 content, and it's all on the same topic. How do you guys, and I asked them all the same question, how are you investing without using your own money? And they just share everything that they're doing, how they're able to do it if they don't have a lot of cash. Now, bonus number 7, and one of my favorite things here, if you guys want to know more about how I built my portfolio, how did I get all my multifamily properties, my small multifamily properties without using my own money? How did I buy a 24-unit apartment complex or 6 fourplexes, which is what it is? How did I do that without using my own money? I actually used 4 or 5 different creative strategies to do that. I go in depth in this 2-hour video called How to Invest in Real Estate with No and Low Money Down live. That's a $200 value. That's included tonight as well for no additional charge. Anybody who upgrade to Pro using coupon code 111. Now, like I said, that is all those bonuses that we just talked about. Everything there is for an annual member. Now, if you just decided to go monthly, you can still get the 20% off if you use that coupon code, but you won't get the conference audio. You won't get the audio, the other books, the interviews, the 2-hour video. You won't get any of that stuff. And you're not locked in at that price forever. So if BiggerPockets Pro goes up, you can go up as well. So that's why I generally encourage people, if you're thinking about it, go annual. It's $232 a year. And I know $232 is a chunk, but people spend more than that on coffee. They spend more than on things that you want, right? To go back to that Jim Rohn quote, if you want something, you'll make it happen. If not, you'll find an excuse. And people do it all the time. So just a summary here before we go on to the Q&A. So everybody who upgrades the BiggerPockets Pro annual tonight using code 111 will get 20% off a BiggerPockets Pro membership. They'll get the 24-hour or the 2012 conference audio, 24 plus hours, a $300 value. All the webinar replays of all webinars we've done in the past that we were able to record. Again, over 50 hours there. You get the digital no unlimited down book, the digital no unlimited down audio book, $19 each there. The MP3 video interviews, the How to Find Incredible Deals bonus book, the Investing with Money with No Money 2-hour video. All that stuff, guys, over $600 in bonuses you'll get for people who upgrade to Pro Annual tonight using code 111. Now, none of this counts towards Plus. Understand that. None of this counts towards Plus, only Pro members. But if you are a Pro member, I can hook you up with the stuff as well. If you're a Pro Annual member, you can get the annual bonuses. If you're just a Pro Monthly, you can get the monthly stuff as well. But you got to go to biggerpockets.com/webinar/bonus. So if you're an existing Pro member, you guys rock. Now, one last thing before we move on. If you guys decide to upgrade to BiggerPockets Pro, if you do go BiggerPockets Pro, let me know in the chat area. Let me know over in the chat area, like right now, and say, hey, I upgraded, or I'm a Pro member. And I love exclamation marks. If you do an exclamation mark, I'll give you a special shout out too. All right, so we're gonna move on to Q&A time. Remember, I'm not a lawyer, doctor, CPA, chef, or your mother. Talk to the right people. Get information from the right people. I'm just a monkey in a cage, just shouting out my opinions. So hang tight there. All right. So, and before Q&A, let's go to the final bonuses. Final bonuses. Go to biggerpockets.com/books. BOOKS. Biggerpockets.com/books will give you special gift number 1. And here's your final 2 bonuses for the day. The entire slide deck from today's webinar, biggerpockets.com/111 slides. And you can get 7 years of 7-figure wealth by going to biggerpockets.com/7 years. Those are your bonuses. Before we move on to the Q&A, let me give you a couple shout outs. Zach said just upgraded with a bunch of exclamation marks. Yeah, I love exclamation marks. I don't know why. I do them a lot, like when I'm writing, and people make fun of me because I do a lot of exclamation marks, but I just like them. I'm a very enthusiastic guy. Kevin said upgrading now to Pro. Woohoo! Lots of exclamation marks. Lee said, I got to convince my wife. Well, Lee, if you want a good way to convince her, like I said, one, if you avoid buying one bad deal, if you buy one good deal, and there's a 30-day guarantee, you can keep the bonuses even if it doesn't work out. So try it out, see what you think. If it's in your budget, take care of it. All right, moving on. Let's see. Jerry said I'm upgrading tonight. It's time. Woohoo! Joshua said done. Janie said I went Pro tonight. Tony, we're buying tonight. Awesome. Vincent said I'm a Pro for 3 weeks. Woohoo! Felipe said I'm a Pro. You guys are awesome. All right. Jay said that's awesome. Tony also, another Tony said Pro about 3 months ago. Lots of exclamation marks. Yay me. That's awesome, guys. All right. Chai said, I became a Pro from the Gold Seminar. It had made my life so much easier at looking at deals, and the show has been great. Thank you, Chai. You're awesome. That's awesome. All right. Liz said upgraded. Questions. So let's go Q&A. What we got here? All right, I'll leave this page up for a little bit, and we'll do some Q&A questions. By the way, as I pick these questions, what would help me out, guys, in the Q&A time is over when you're submitting a question. If you're submitting a question, there's a little down arrow next to the question, and you can actually choose the little red question mark. That will help me see what the questions are, just FYI. Not that I need them, but it would just help me, and I might find your question a little better. So, Zach said, who says you need to tell your wife? I didn't. Whoops. I'm not giving that advice. Brad said, what's the best way to find absentee owners? Brad, I got mine on a list from listsource.com. I bought my list of absentee owners on listsource.com. If you want to know more about that, go to biggerpockets.com/direct mail. DIRECTMAIL. That's my ultimate guide to direct mail marketing. Check it out. All right. Lee said she's laughing at you right now. What's up, Lee's wife? Hi, Lee's wife. All right. Lauren said, I'm a Pro, need to get to work. That's awesome. Woohoo. Ralph, Pro from Detroit. Rock on. Gabriel said, have you ever put in a bid on someone's late property taxes to take over their house? So I have not done that, Gabrielle. I have not done that, or Gabriel. I'm really bad with names. All right, anyway, Gabby, we'll call you. I've not done that. I've not done tax lien stuff, but I know people who have, and they make good money in it. It's not my niche. And here's the fun thing, guys. Let me talk about real estate. What I love about real estate. There are so many niches in real estate. Like there's like hundreds of niches in real estate, and they all work. There are successful people you can find in every single niche. Like I just chose small multifamily properties because I like them. They fit well for me. This year, though, I'm looking at a mobile home park because that fits with what I want next. And I'm still buying small multis, I'm still buying large, but now I'm adding one more thing on because they all work, right? So don't let anybody ever tell you, no, this doesn't work. Tax liens don't work. Or, hey, wholesaling doesn't work. Flipping doesn't work. That's all BS from people who don't know what they're doing, don't know what they're talking about, right? It all works. So here's a couple important things on that topic. Number one, understand that you don't need to learn everything. Pick one and just stick with it. Pick one and stick with it. Why did I choose mobile home parks this year? Because I just chose one. Like it fits, and I chose to learn everything I can about it. I'm gonna become the best mobile home park at Mind in America. That's my goal. Like I'm gonna learn everything I can. I'm gonna interview tons of mobile home park owners purely because I just chose it, right? So if you wanna buy a duplex, become the best duplex investor in your town. Right? If you want to buy a fourplex, become the best fourplex investor, the smartest one. Go out there and hustle and just pick something and do it. Stop like bouncing around ideas forever, right? Anyway, that drives me crazy. Not that Gabby, you said this, but I'm just saying when people are like choosing one thing then another, and then I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. They never actually do anything. They sit there and run around in circles all day long. Just pick something and go with it, and don't stop until you achieve your goals with it. That's what I would suggest. All right, moving on. Jason asked about BRRRR. So how does BRRRR change when you look at multifamily properties? So let me explain real quick what BRRRR investing is. BRRRR investing is. Oh, by the way, G-Man said, when does this expire? By the way, the coupon code expires on Friday night. So today, you got a couple days to do that. If you're watching this live right now, you have a couple days to upgrade using code 111. It does expire Friday night at midnight, FYI. All right, so let's talk about BRRRR. I'm going to give you guys an exact example of how BRRRR can work. So I bought, now let's use an example of, I do BRRRR a lot. BRRRR, let me first step back a minute. BRRRR is you buy a property, that's B, you rehab the property, that's R, you rent the property out, R, you refinance the property, meaning you get a brand new loan, and then you repeat the process. Now, you buy it, usually with short-term financing, which is like a hard money loan, private money, cash, home equity line of credit, whatever. Then you fix it up, get it rented, get a new loan to get your short-term lender paid off, and get a 30-year fixed mortgage, and then do it again because now your money's freed up. So I'll give you an example of my fourplex, the one that I bought from my daughter. So I bought this a week after she was born. We went to the title company, signed papers like 4 days after she was born. We bought it for $45,000. Crazy good deal, right? But I hustled to find that deal. I put under contract for $45,000. I then used a private money lender, somebody that I met on Bigger Pockets because I have a relationship built with them. I build relationships with people all the time, networking on Bigger Pockets. I built a relationship. I bought it for $45,000. I actually borrowed $100,000 from this person. I borrowed $100,000 from this person so I could have the money to fix it up. And so I bought the property. I'm fixing it up. Now here in about 2 months from now, I'm going to go to the bank. Well, I'm renting it out. 2 of the units are rented out. I got 2 more that are still getting rented out. Once those 2 units are rented out, I'll go to the bank. I'll get a brand new loan, probably for $150,000. I think I can get a loan for about $150,000. I'll pay off the $100,000 to my private lender. I'll pay back myself the money I put into the deal because I'm probably going to have $50,000 invested in it. I'll pay back myself. And then I'm going to have a 30-year fixed mortgage at like 4% for the next 30 years. Or actually, I'm going to do a 15-year mortgage. Now, I could have done a 30. I'm going to do a 15 though, because I want it paid off by the time my daughter goes to college. But anyway, you could do 30 if you wanted to. So that is how BRRRR works and why it's so awesome. Now, one of the reasons I like doing it is because you can do no money down BRRRR stuff. Now, technically in my fourplex example, I put money down because I'm spending $100,000 on the rehab where I only borrowed $50,000 for the rehab, but I probably could have borrowed the $100,000 total if I wanted to. And then actually, technically speaking, I used a line of credit for for 30 of that. So I only put 20 of my own money into it. But anyway, that's a much longer story. That's why I love BRRRR investing. So it's you buy a property, rehab it, rent it out, refinance it, repeat, do it over and over and over and over, and you build your portfolio very, very efficiently without using a lot of money of your own. And you've now got a bunch of properties with equity. You got properties with cash flow. You've got properties without using a lot of your own money. You've got experience, and you are on top of the world. And I love BRRRR investing. If you want to know more about BRRRR investing, watch the webinar that I did on it. Go to the biggerpockets.com/pro replay. You'll learn a ton of good stuff. All right. Jack said, what age properties do you look for? Homes 50, 75, 100 years old, too old? No, I look for anything. However, I like properties that were 1950 and sooner because of like copper plumbing and drywall and electrical, right? I hate knob and tube wiring, and old houses have that. I hate cast iron plumbing, old houses have that. I hate lath and plaster, old houses have that. 1950s is where everything changed. And so I like to buy properties that are newer than that if I can. Though I buy a lot of properties that are older than that, and I just deal with it. All right. Zach said, I recently upgraded to Plus. I would like to go Pro. Is there a way to reimburse the Plus? Yeah, actually, if you are a Plus member and you upgrade to Pro, it'll actually the calculator will figure out what you already paid, what you still owe, and it'll make the difference for you. And so if you have any problems with that, just email support@biggerpockets.com and they can help you out there. All right. Nathaniel said, I'm a Pro with a ton of exclamation marks. You're awesome. Let's see. Ed said, the Bay Area is so expensive. Should I invest out of the area? If so, where do the numbers make sense? Good question, Ed. So a lot of people are having this problem, right? A lot of you guys have this problem where you live in an area where it's too expensive. So I have a couple things I like to say about that. First of all, within a 2-hour drive of any city in America, no matter what, there are lower priced properties that make sense. That's the first thing I'll say. So you could drive. And for example, Seattle, one of the hottest markets in the country. I live 90 minutes from Seattle, and you can buy a house for $30,000. Bay Area, you can buy a house in Sacramento, I know, for cheaper property, not $30,000, but you can buy ones that cash flow there. The second thing I'll say is this. You could consider investing out of the area, like through a turnkey company. Like there's a lot of them out there. Bridge is a buddy of mine owns that. Memphis Invest. There's Ohio Cash Flow. There's a lot of them out there. Turnkey companies. What turnkey companies do is they're in areas, usually in the Midwest, where properties are cheaper. And these turnkey companies will help you buy the property, fix it up, rent it out. They'll manage the whole process, and then they'll manage the tenants. Now, there are pros and cons of turnkey. Just make sure you learn everything you can about it, and make sure you always do your own numbers. Don't let a turnkey company tell you how to run the numbers. You run your own math. Never trust a turnkey company. I wouldn't trust my own mom if she ran my math for me, right? I wouldn't trust my own wife if she did my numbers for me. Only I do my numbers, because ultimately it's my responsibility. It's my fault that something goes wrong. It's my fault if something goes good. I'm going to do my own math. Make sense? So those are a few options for you. You could drive, or the last option. Every area in the US, people are getting rich from real estate. Every town, Bay Area included, New York City, LA, Podunk, Washington. Everywhere you go, there are people making money in real estate. The question is, how are they doing it? So you could leave, or you could find out, how are people doing it in San Francisco? How are they doing it in Bay Area? How are they doing it in New York, LA? And figure that out. So there's a few options if you live in an expensive area. All right. Oh, Josh said you mentioned the letter. So new question. You mentioned the letter that I use. So yeah, guys, write this down. Go to biggerpockets.com/DM, like direct mail, DM letter, LETTER. biggerpockets.com/DM letter. What that is a blog post I wrote that I share exactly how I do my direct mail marketing. And at the bottom of that post, I include a picture of my actual letter that I used, the same letter that got me that $45,000 fourplex. Check it out. Copy it if you want to. All right. Susanna said, how do I finance my second duplex? I'm in Ontario, Canada. So I don't know all of Canada's laws, but if you're similar to US, I can answer the question. I mean, you can finance it the same way as anything else. Put a 20% down payment if you want to. Or maybe you could take equity out of the first one and use that to buy the second. Maybe you could do the BRRRR strategy and just refinance the property. Buy it with private lending. You have experience now, right? So maybe you could find a private lender to buy the deal for you or with you, and do it that way. Or maybe you find a partner who can bring the down payment money and you guys do it together. There's all sorts of options. If you want to know more about that, read the book on investing in real estate with no and low money down by this guy. Or, I mean, search Bigger Pockets. There's tons of articles on creative finance. if you really truly want it, you'll find a way. And if you don't, you'll find an excuse, right? And I mean, that's that quote that I really get convicted by. Anytime I remember like, well, I can't do something, I say, you know, if I really wanted it, I could. All right. All right. Let's see. What other stuff we got here? Hong said I'm a pro now. Awesome. I'm missing some pro stuff. Kevin had a bunch of exclamation marks. That's awesome. Let's see. David is now, he says, congratulations, you're now a Bigger Pockets Pro. So you got that message. Awesome. Welcome to Pro, David. Dustin said, can you show the URLs again for the bonuses? Sure, let me show you that. So if you wanted the door prizes, let me pull that back up again. Here you go. Write that down. All right. Oh, Rochelle said, what's the 50% rule? So the 50% rule is a rule of thumb. It's not always that accurate. It's just a quick and dirty rule of thumb that says half of what comes in, half of the income is going to go out in expenses, not counting the mortgage. So if you made $2,000 a month in income, you could probably assume half of that is going to go out in taxes, insurance, vacancy, repairs, stuff like that. Half is gone. So let's say $2,000 a month, take out half. Now we're left with $1,000. Now, whatever your mortgage is, let's say your mortgage is $800 a month. So 2,000 divided in half is 1,000 minus your mortgage of 800. You're left with $200 a month. That would be your estimated monthly cash flow. That's just a rule of thumb, but it's kind of a cool one. All right. Kevin asked, if you use hard money on a BRRRR property or BRRRR investment, how long do you have to hold the property before traditional finance to refinance the property? Good question. Traditional financing. Good question. So typically on a BRRRR property, you have to go at least 6 months, but usually 1 year. Most banks like to have the property season, which is sit empty, or like not empty, but sit without being refinanced for 1 year. That's kind of a general guideline. So if you're going to use hard money, make sure you are okay paying hard money loans for a year and get a loan that's longer than a year. If your hard money lender is only a 6-month lender, that's not going to work. So whenever I do a BRRRR deal, I always use a 18-month loan. I always make sure I negotiate at least 18 months. Now, if you want to know more about BRRRR, again, make sure you guys watch that webinar I did on BRRRR investing, because there's a lot of nuances that you can, if you mess up, it can cost you a lot of money and it can give you a lot of drama and stuff. So make sure you watch that. All right. Let's see. What else we got here? G-Man said, Brandon, can you be my mentor? Please, I'm motivated. I wish I could. Man, I don't even have time to see my own family half the time. But here's the cool thing. Like the bigger pockets community is that mentor that you need, right? There are thousands of people in the forums every day. There are people far smarter, far more experienced, and far better looking than I could ever hope to be over in the forums, answering questions day and night, 24/7. And it's free to jump in the forums. You don't even have to have a pro membership to use the forums. Like, just jump in there, learn from the community, ask questions, get advice, read blog posts, read books. Just get out there and do it, right? Like, that is what you need to be able to hustle at this stuff. All right, moving on. What else we got here? Let's see. Logan said, I went pro in all caps. Thank you, with like 50 exclamation marks. That's awesome. All right. Logan said, I love mobile homes. That's cool. I've never bought a mobile home, but I like the idea of a mobile home park. There's just a few things I like about it. Let's see. Crystal said, is it a good idea to buy multifamily properties through wholesalers? Any pros and cons? Yeah, so I like the idea of buying through a wholesaler. However, 99% of wholesalers I've met in my day are not very good. They don't know how to do the math. So a wholesaler, if you don't know, is somebody who finds good deals. They go out and find really good deals, and then they put those deals under contract, and then they find an investor like you or I to buy the deals. And then they make a spread. They make like a $5,000 fee on that process. And that's kind of a simplistic definition of what a wholesaler is. But anyway, yeah, if you find a good wholesaler, they can be invaluable. In fact, some of the best investors I know get most of their deals from wholesalers. Wholesalers hustle so you can just get a good deal. It's really a fantastic business model, but most wholesalers don't know how to run the numbers, especially in a multifamily. So yeah, you can buy one from a wholesaler. Just expect that you're going to need to do your own math. All right, let's see. What else we got here? Let's see. Why are some sellers adverse to offers with FHA loans? Oh, good question. So Alex said, why are some sellers averse to offers with FHA loans? So I don't think a lot of sellers are, but if let's say you were a seller, right, and you got two offers. One was an FHA loan, which is a government loan, which takes time. It's got a lot of paperwork to do, and the borrower means that they don't have a lot of money. And you got somebody who offered a full cash price, no loan at all, and they could just close tomorrow. Who would you pick? And they are both equal amounts. Who would you pick? I'd pick the cash offer any day, right? Any day. Because let's be honest, right? Like it's a better chance of getting accepted. So that's why FHA loans sometimes maybe a seller might not choose the FHA. Here's a quick tip for you. Any offer you submit a letter with it. A little letter that has your picture on the bottom, preferably a picture with either your kids or your pets. Doesn't matter. And I mean, this sounds funny, but I do this with almost every offer I put in. A letter that says, hi, my name is Brandon. My wife and I love this property and we really want to work on it. We think this would be a fantastic new project for us to work on. We are local to Montesano and we understand this town and the needs of the town. And we are so excited to do this property. Can we make a deal happen? Thanks. Brandon and Heather, cute little picture of me and Heather and Rosie. Why do we do that? Because real estate is a people game. Even a bank repo somewhere has a person that's approving or denying your offer. So if you submit a personal letter with it, they're going to read it, they're going to look at it, and all of a sudden you become not just a number, you become a person, and the chance of them accepting it is a lot greater. Just a little tip for you guys. All right, what else we got here? Edward said, gone pro. Whoop, whoop. Mary said, pro now. That's awesome, guys. Welcome. Leo said, is the only difference between a rental and a BRRRR is that you refinance at some point? Yeah, pretty much. That's the main difference is you buy it and then you refinance it again later. So that's pretty much the biggest difference. And it's why the main strategy I've used over the past decade to buy real estate without using a lot of money. Uh-oh. It said, somebody said when they tried to go into biggerpockets.com/DM letter, it said, we're sorry. It looks like Bigger Pockets is getting a tune-up under the hood. Let me go ahead and check that real quick. Let's see. We'll check it together. It's possible that we crashed the site. There are like 1,000 people at one time all going to the site at the same time, which is very possible that we're crashing it on webinars. I did it last week too. We actually crashed Bigger Pockets last week. Biggerpockets.com says DM letter. Come on. All right, here we go. So it's working for me now. If it's not working for you, come back to a letter. So what the blog post was about how to create your own handwritten font. So read this if you want to learn how I do my handwritten font. It's kind of cool. At the bottom of this post, though, there's my letter. It's very simple. It has my name on top and it says, hi, my name is Brandon. I'm an investor in Grays Harbor and I'm highly interested in buying your property at blank. If you're interested in selling, please call me at blank. You'll either reach me or Tracy. I look forward to chatting. Thanks, Brandon, harborhousebuyers.com. P.S. I can buy it even if it's in bad condition or if it has tenants in it. I've dealt with it all. Smiley face. And I can pay cash and close quickly. Call me 360 and I have the number again. That's my letter. And I print it out. It looks like handwritten, doesn't it? Can you guys see that? I don't know if you can see that, but it looks like handwriting. But I print it out. So that's what I do. All right, what else we got here? Mary, lots of exclamation marks. Welcome to pro. Whoop, whoop. Sam said, Brandon is your mentor on the podcast. Well, that's true. And webinars. I guess you could say that. Come every week. I do these webinars, guys, every single week. I mean, I have not missed a webinar in over 2 years. Every single solitary week, I've done one of these webinars. I'm going to miss my first one, though, in a couple of weeks because I'm going on a cruise for 10 days, which is exciting. All right. Let's see. Kathy has said, is there a way to get a loan financing without a traditional job? Like if you have unsteady or no income? Yeah, I mean, I got a lot of them. The easy way to do it is just get a partner. Like find a partner who has a job and has good income that the banks love and just partner with them. I mean, yeah, you can only get 50% of the deal, but who cares? They're putting up the money, they're getting the loan, you're getting more deals. Just do twice as many if that's what it takes until you can get enough income from the rentals to be able to justify yourself. That's probably my favorite way to do it. Let's see. Can you use 401k funds for real estate? You could. There are ways to do it. I'm not the expert on it. You can open up what's called a solo 401k, and you could put up to $54,000 a year into it or something like that. Don't quote me on that number. You can put like 50 grand a year in it, and then you can use that to buy real estate. I don't know all the rules, but I did open one. If you pick up a copy of the book on tax strategies for the savvy real estate investor, which you can get at biggerpockets.com/tax book. You'll learn a lot more about it in there. Amanda Hahn is the lady who wrote that. She's also my CPA. She's amazing. She taught me a lot of that. All right. Let's see. Tony said, that's a really good question. I'm going to do a couple more questions, then we're going to get out of here. But a couple more quick questions. Tony said, what is the best way to show my wife that real estate investing is a good idea? I like that question because a lot of people struggle with that, like, right? Especially when you're in the beginning, you're excited about it. You're wanting to invest in real estate. You're really pumped up, but then you have to still convince somebody else, like your spouse, that it's a good idea. A couple things. First of all, don't worry about convincing them right away. Worry about becoming an expert first. Read a ton, listen to podcasts, go to webinars, read blog posts, engage in the forums, become really, really good at it first. Because here's the problem people do. They get excited about something and then they tell their spouse, here's how we're going to make it rich. And then 2 weeks later, they're back watching Dancing with the Stars on the couch. Get past that hump. Get past the initial, like you're taxiing on the runway before the takeoff. Get past the taxiing, take off, then bring them into the conversation more. Right? And let them know that this is not just another, I'm selling, Mary Kay products and I'm, whatever the next thing is that you're into. Spouses are very, very, what's the word? Like, I don't know, cognizant of that. Like they know that their spouses, especially guys like you and me or girls like you and me are like, we are dreamers, right? We're entrepreneurs. We're excited about this stuff. We want to build wealth. We want financial freedom. They don't quite have that yet. And they see you as like, okay, well, they're on another one of their kicks. There they go on their kick again, right? So again, get knowledgeable, get really knowledgeable. So get past the initial phase of just excitement and get past that. And then from there, like move forward. Slowly. I mean, again, don't go without their permission, but like, be like, hey, you want to go look at a property with me? Would you just humor me on this? And then run the numbers with them if you can. Maybe encourage them to read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, or another one of those books that really helps people kind of motivate themselves. Rich Dad, Poor Dad is one I generally recommend to people. It's a good one for spouses to listen to or read because it's not just about real estate, but it helps get them in the mindset that will help them later on. Also, just be wary of their concerns. Understand what they're concerned. Why don't they want to do it? Why are they concerned about it? And go that route. And then show them the math, show them the numbers. That helps a lot as well. All right. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Rebecca said, are these fixed rate? So I'm going to do 2 more questions, but oh, by the way, Kathy also said to get the spouse, have them watch more HGTV. Like, honestly, that sounds stupid, but my wife got excited about real estate because me and her used to watch Flip That House. That was the one back in the day. Flip That House. We used to watch that together, and that got her excited about it. Today, there's like a lot of shows on flipping. There's Flip and Flop. There's Zombie House Flipping. There's what was it? Flipping the South. I mean, there's a lot of these shows that are on TV about flipping. Just maybe start watching some of those. A lot of them are on Netflix. In fact, all of Flip or Flop is on Netflix. And you can watch Tarek and Christina flip houses. And they're entertaining enough. I like those shows. All right. 2 more questions. First one, Rebecca said, are these fixed rate mortgages you're talking about able to be used for properties in LLCs? I've been told you can only get fixed rate if the property is in your personal name. So you've been told correctly. It is very hard to get a fixed rate mortgage if the property is in an LLC. So let me tell you what I do. And again, I'm not a CPA or a lawyer. I'm not giving you advice here. I'm just telling you what I do. I buy properties in my own personal name. Then after they're refinanced, fixed up, done, stable and done, I then put them into an LLC. I transfer them into an LLC. Now, there is risk in doing that. The bank could freak out. They could demand that I pay them back now and we're quitting this loan, and they could freak out, right? It's called the due on sale clause. It could happen. It never does. It has hardly ever happened. In fact, I don't know any examples at all where it's happened to somebody other than like, I heard it happen to my brother-in-law, my brother's friend's cousin's mom's niece once, but I've never heard it happening. Almost every investor I know does the same thing. Secondly, I know that I have equity in every property. I've got money in every property, which means if the bank did freak out, well, first of all, if the bank freaked out, I'd just put it back in my name again. I'd be like, okay, sorry, that was a mistake. Oops. Ask forgiveness, not permission kind of thing. And they'd probably be okay with it. But if they still weren't okay with it, I have equity in every property. I could refinance it with another lender. I'd put it back in my name and then refinance it. Or I could get a private money lender to take it, or a hard money lender to take it, or get a new loan, or worst case, I could sell it. So that's how I typically do it. I buy it in my personal name and then I transfer it into an LLC. Again, not advice, I'm just telling you what I do. All right. Last question I'm going to do of the day. I like this question a lot, but before I get to it, let me explain a couple of things. First of all, you guys rock. The 450 people that are still here 2 hours into this webinar, you guys are still here. You guys are awesome. First of all, you guys are, again, awesome. Thank you for showing up today. Thank you for being a part of this webinar and for learning and growing. I'm excited for you guys. Those people who are just getting started with real estate, you guys are awesome. I'm excited. I remember that feeling of being nervous, but excited. It's a fun game. You guys will love this real estate thing. Just make sure you do your homework, do your math, learn as much as you can, and don't be afraid to step out and just start moving in the right direction. You guys can do this. I know you can. So don't make excuses. Just go out and do it. Secondly, Bigger Pockets Pro, that the coupon code 111 that I gave you guys earlier, that expires on Friday night of this week. And so you do have to upgrade by Friday night, which would be about 48 hours from now if you're watching this on Wednesday anyway. So upgrade by then to be able to get your discount code working and get all the bonuses. If you're an existing pro member already, just go to biggerpockets.com/webinar/bonus to get all those cool things. And I don't know what else I got. That's really all the announcements. Come next week, we're talking another webinar next week. Should be a lot of fun. So all right, so if I did not give you a shout out, if you guys upgraded to pro and you're in the chat area and I did not give you a shout out, I apologize. It goes by so quickly and I miss a lot of stuff. So again, I apologize. If I did not get your question and you want a question answered, I want to encourage you guys, go in the forums. Like I said earlier, there are people far smarter and far more experienced than I could ever hope to be in the forums all the time, 24/7, volunteering their time just to help. It's an amazing community. So jump in there and ask your question there, and you'll probably get a better answer than I could have given you anyway. All right. So, whoa, Jerry said about the close of my first rehab, making over, he wrote 10K, then he said 100K. Jerry's making 100K on his first rehab. Jerry, dude, we should talk. We're actually going to do another couple episodes of the Newbie podcast. You should come on the podcast sometime and tell your story. Go to about your first deal. Shoot me an email. Let me know if you're up for that. All right, guys, last question of the day. This was one that affected me a lot when I got started, and I know it affects a lot of people, so I want to touch on this. Kathy has said, how do you handle negativity from family and friends? How do you handle negativity from family and friends? Like, you can't do that. Your uncle lost so much money on a deal, etc. You're not gonna be able to quit your job. So when I got started, my parents told me, you don't want to get into real estate. You'll go broke, you'll end up homeless, and you'll lose everything. Like, it's a bad idea. That's what they told me. My dad, I remember telling me that. And that really affected me. I was like, you know what? He's right. Like, I don't know how to be a real estate investor. I'm going to lose everything. Had I listened to his advice, had I listened to his negativity, I would not have the life that I do right now. I'd probably be working 70 hours a week as a lawyer in New York, hating my life, hating my job, trying to keep up with the Joneses, because I would have never discovered that this thing exists called financial freedom, and that you can live a proactive life. You can choose how you want your life to go. You don't have to just take the cards that were dealt to you. You can just reshuffle the deck, right? Like, no, I would not have learned that. So first of all, understand just from a motivational standpoint, don't listen to people. Secondly, the people that are negative at first are the ones that are gonna come back to you later and want to partner with you. My dad is now probably my biggest partner in terms of the biggest property I own. He's partners on that deal. And he will actually pay off his house in the next year or two because of that deal. That deal will help him in retirement get thousands of dollars a month in retirement income for the rest of his life that he was going to end up living just on Social Security. So, like, those people are negative, but they will come around once you start doing it, right? So you don't need to broadcast to the world, to everybody, telling them what you're doing. I mean, I think it's a good idea to commit and tell people that you're doing it, but like, show them, don't tell them. Right? Show them what you're doing and don't listen to the negativity, because you can do this. If you want to do it, you will find a way. And if you don't, you'll find an excuse. So get out there and prove them wrong. And you guys, I said it earlier and I'll say it again. I want to get emails from you months from now, a month from now, 2 weeks from now, a year from now that says, Brandon, I took action on what you said. I went out there, I found a property, now I'm cash flowing. I'm getting $1,000 a month. I'm getting $10,000 a month. I'm getting $100 a month. I don't even care, right? I want to see you guys succeed. Like, that is my heart in this business, is to see you guys succeed. And any way I can help you do that, I want to do that. And that's why I do these webinars every single solitary week, because I can help the most amount of people. I can teach live for 2 hours every single week in a way that I could never do on a one-on-one basis, because I want to see you guys succeed. I want you to have the kind of proactive life that you want and that you deserve. So get out there, do it, and then you know, help other people along the way once you achieve your goals as well. So thank you guys so much for everything. You guys rock. Thank you. Have a great day. And yeah, thank you. See you around the Bigger Pockets community. For biggerpockets.com, my name is Brandon. Signing off.